Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco, Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
WHB Kansas City.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Jim Baswell. So is Russell Wilson the next frustrated star quarterback? Sure sounded that way on the Dan Patrick Show.
Are you involved in personnel decisions? Have you been involved in personnel decisions?
Not as much. I don't, I think that, for
Do you
me,
want to be involved, Russ?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps to be involved more. But I think that dialogue should happen more often, in my opinion.
Wilson also expressed frustration by the amount of times he's been hit throughout his career. Patrick Mahomes will have surgery this week on the turf toe injury he suffered in the playoffs, likely to be ready for the Chiefs' start of training camp. Chiefs outside linebackers coach Britt Reed has been placed on administrative leave following Thursday's multi-car vehicle accident that left a 5-year-old girl in critical condition. In the meantime, the Nets, 7-3 versus teams with winning records this season, 7-8 against sub-500 teams. They have Kyrie Irving back in the lineup. The Pistons qualify as one of those sub-500 teams. They were up on the Nets by 20 in the second quarter. The lead now 59-48. Detroit up top. Kevin Durant still out for COVID-19 protocols. The Clippers will be without Paul George for at least 2 more games as he deals with that swollen right toe. Meantime, college basketball, top of the hour, 9 Eastern. It's number 7 Texas Tech home to 14th ranked West Virginia. And the NHL has postponed tonight's Flyers-Capitals game because of COVID-19 related issues with Philadelphia. This is the 34th game postponed this season, including 3 on the schedule tonight.
Wednesday, the football conversation continues, looking back on the Super Bowl and ahead to who will win next year's. Tony Dungy's got all the answers. I'll be asking the questions. Don't miss it. Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
For the second consecutive show, I believe, we have to take a minute at the top of tonight's show to talk about a couple of things that are outside the realm of where we usually venture. And we will have plenty of time tonight to talk about the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl, which is not the beginning of tonight's show, and it's multifold here. One is that Marty Schottenheimer passed away today after a long battle with Alzheimer's, and we may talk more about that at various points throughout the rest of the show, and not to in any way sort of diminish that, but he was put into hospice care a little while back, and obviously his battle with that had been pretty well documented, but earlier today, just a couple hours ago, news came out of absolutely nowhere that Terez Paylor, formerly of the Kansas City Star and most recently of Yahoo Sports, had died. And I just was crushed to read that and continued to be devastated for everyone who knew him best. I had my fair share of interactions with Terez, but I wasn't as close to him as many people in the Kansas City sports media scene, many of whom have written things that you should read if you feel a connection to the work that Terez did. We'll talk to Seth Keysor tonight. We always talk to him on Tuesdays, and I know he's had some stories that he could tell about Terez, but it was a real devastating shock, and I would point anyone towards the threads from our friend Brandon Kiley, who he had a great few tweets and a story about his time working with Terez. Sam Mellinger and Vahe Gregorian both have written things up on the Kansas City Star already that are excellent reflections on their time working with him and why exactly losing him as young as everyone has now lost him is so devastating. And I do say everyone because the thing that I think you'll find if you haven't opened Twitter tonight, and God forbid you heard that from me first, you're going to find something you essentially never find on Twitter. You will find consensus about Therese. You will not find one person, and you will not have found one person at any point in his time in this industry that has anything to say other than that he was a genuine joy to be around. And a man who was excellent at his job. I even just being a few rows removed from whenever he would show up into the packed Chiefs press conference rooms, it was more fun when he was there. The room was smarter whenever he was in it, and he was kind at every turn to everyone. And again, you will, if you open Twitter tonight and you read from people who had one interaction with Therese that maybe only they remember, to the people that worked beside him on a daily basis, you will find absolute unanimous agreement from one to the other. And I think that is a pretty good indicator of how someone lived their life and treated the people around them. It is absolutely crushing. Something else that I think everyone anywhere near media has to appreciate, something that I saw someone, I couldn't even tell you out of the stream of tweets and everything who it was that even made this point. I don't think it was someone from the media. I think it was someone who was a regular listener to his various work, who said that the regular listeners to his shows feel like they lost a friend today, which is part of the energy that he was so incredibly good at putting out there, where you were welcome. He would be every type of inviting that you could ask someone to be, even if you were in the same room or if you were listening to a podcast that he had recorded earlier. You felt like you got to know him in a way that is another element that I just think is really difficult to appreciate enough about someone. He really was as good as anybody in this industry anywhere. And I could say to anyone that hey, you're almost as good at this as Therese, or you and Therese are the two. No one on planet football would take offense to that, because he had set that high of a standard. It is who he is and the legacy that he leaves. Totally unanimous across the board. He will be extremely missed from the sports media world, and I can't even begin to imagine how devastated his immediate friends and family are by the loss of someone that always felt good to be around. So, couldn't not mention that at the top of the show today. Just sort of shaking news. Gone far too soon. He was 37. Just great work. A wonderful person. Kind and generous with his time and demeanor. You can find evidence of that by asking anyone who is around him at any point. So, same strategy as what we ended up doing last week. I wanted to open the show and acknowledge the sort of story at the top, and we'll take a break and we'll come back, and Beards will once again play a fresh new intro for the football thing that happened, which does admittedly feel really small and just very insignificant in terms of how big of a bummer it was to watch the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl a couple days ago. Not quite as stinging in the context of sort of sports bad feelings to the various sadnesses that we've experienced around Kansas City in the last several days. So thoughts certainly to everyone in the Schottenheimer family who lost Marty today, and to everyone who had the pleasure of being close to Terez Paylor and his time in Kansas City and otherwise. Yeah, I would encourage you, if you want to hear from people who are closer than I was, I would suggest you go read anything that any of the people who work with him on a daily basis have put out, either on Twitter or in various written forms, and read some of the stories they tell with gratitude that you get to hear some of them. Just a lot of loss and a lot of sadness. So that's the unwieldy way we'll start today's show. We will take a break. I'm confident that Seth will have a story or two about Terez that will when we talk to Seth here in a couple hours. But Terez Paylor passed away this morning at the age of 37. And everybody's worse off because of it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. And everything's going to be totally different. We're gonna try to do the show in the way that we would have done it in a normal day, much less in a day following a Chiefs Super Bowl loss. Didn't have a show last night, so we'll bring all of the Super Bowl topics to the top of the list, but wanted to essentially pay respects to Terez at the beginning. So, and to Marty Schottenheimer for that. That's just this day has been a real bleep sandwich. I've also almost cursed in this first segment 3 or 4 times. I've gotten sort of dangerously sad, which is when I get close to saying bad words on the radio. Be on top of it, Beards. We're probably okay. Let's take a break. We'll come back, talk about the Super Bowl, all the things that are a little less impactful in the grand scheme of things. But we'll play our part in that element of this show, station, world, media landscape, whatever. We'll talk about the Chiefs on the field and all of the things that surrounded that really unfun Super Bowl whenever we come back.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, listen up, guys. I don't know about you, but I know Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And if I want to have a great Valentine's Day, I got to make sure I take care of my wife. You know what I do? I get her beautiful flowers. Flowers from Pro Flowers. They're absolutely stunning. They're the highest quality flowers, freshest, smell wonderful, look even better. That's why I go to ProFlowers. Go right now to proflowers.com. Use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O. You can save 20% on your next purchase. That's right. Save 20% on your next purchase from ProFlowers. All you got to do is go to proflowers.com. Check out the huge selection of flowers. She's got a favorite color. She's got a favorite flower. You're going to find it at ProFlowers. Make sure you use that promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, at proflowers.com to save the 20%. Listen, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and if you don't come home with a great gift, then you're going to be in trouble. Don't do that. Get the flowers at ProFlowers. Clickety, click, click, click. It's that easy. ProFlowers.com. Use the promo code PETRO to save 20%.
If ever there was a time to give that special someone in your life the gift of spa, it's now. A spa experience will deliver stress relief and pure relaxation. Par Excellence gift cards can be purchased through the Par Excellence website or the Par Excellence app. We appreciate your support of small local businesses, and we will get through this together.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the Zone Cryo will help decrease pain and inflammation, accelerate muscle recovery, increase your energy, and boost your immune system. In the Zone Cryo also offers InstaSculpt fat reduction, personal training, infrared heat, compression therapy, and more. Mention Sports Radio 810 and receive 10% off your first service. Come see us at College and Metcalf. Call 913-208-4859 or visit inthezonecryo.com. Feel, look, and perform your best with In the Zone Cryo.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees, all for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
Now that football season is over, spring training is right around the corner. Even if it doesn't start on time, you have no excuse not to start your own spring training. You can get yourself back into game shape by spring, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, or they have a location close by the Lighton Tower right here in Overland Park. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET. Or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Hey, Matthew, we need to restock those sleeping bags.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
One of you cover this register?
Like at Anita's outdoor store. To keep sales climbing, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Isn't this a sports show?
I think what you just convinced me in one question is the Chiefs are the Royals, and I'm living in hell.
Almost entirely.
Welcome to Almost Entirely Existential Dread. I'm your host, Who Cares Anymore?
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
He's literally a cucumber. He is so dumb. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is such a dope. He's literally a squash, so you can never learn the system over the course of the last 6 months.
You know those...
He's not ready.
Mark that.
He's not ready.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Congratulations. Take that W. Straight to hell.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, let's start the show again. Let's talk about the Super Bowl and all the things that come with it and all the things that didn't happen on Sunday. I said this on the post-game show immediately after the game here on 810, that I was stunned by how that game unfolded. I was genuinely incredibly surprised by maybe half a dozen things, but also I do not think that the Chiefs' loss in Super Bowl 55 was complicated. It was really surprising. It was really hard to watch, but I don't think that it was hard to understand. Let me take a 30,000-foot view, because here's the other thing. This is our lasting memory of Chiefs football until, like, August, and, you know, almost entirely existential dread as Beards, I like that intro just kind of to have in the future. Basically, that's just sort of like the, bad sports thing happened. Whenever the Royals lose their, fourth game in a row even this year, you can bring that one back in.
I had yesterday during the KE game, I made this intro, and I saved it in the system in the folder, and I saw that there was another intro that labeled AES intro version Chiefs playoff or Chiefs loss. And I went, I wonder what this is. And I opened it up, and it's eerily similar to the one that I had made. So yeah, it's good to know that I, have a style.
You do, and there's a way that I hope, again, awkwardly making this show sort of a two-parter at the front end. I hope that the next 2.5 hours of this show can give people some solace, both in sort of the silly hurt that comes in sports, and then also the very serious hurt that comes all in the different ways, shapes, and forms around the world. That's an awkward balance that we've had. 2020 was striking that balance a whole lot, and real kick in the nuts for this to start 2021 pretty much the same way. Anyway, we'll try to give you a little bit of some things to laugh at and some things to sort of all come together on. And the fact, Beards, that yes, you have sort of an artistic style in terms of that particular goal. It feels like we've at least found our lane on that one.
I did pull out some old stuff that I hadn't used in a while, though.
Yeah, there's some vintage cuts in there. But here's the 30,000-foot view, okay? The Chiefs got in this game absolutely no pressure. I'm gonna count things that I have like in the first sort of line of thinking. They got absolutely no pressure against a quarterback who infamously is outrageously good when he's not pressured and turns into a pumpkin when there is pressure. There was none. They gave Patrick Mahomes the worst offensive line performance I think I've ever seen with my own two human eyes. They had major mistakes from their stars, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Andy Reid. They had a bunch of role players fail to meet the moment, which pretty much never happens. They had some arguable, but nonetheless extremely untimely penalties, and they seem to have gotten thoroughly outcoached and outplayed at perhaps every position on the field except for quarterback. People are going to say, people have already said, people that you shouldn't be listening to, that there's a blueprint out on how to beat the Chiefs now. There's not a blueprint out on how to beat the Chiefs. There is a blueprint, though, for what a Super Bowl blowout in that situation would look like, and it stunk. That game was not fun. There are lots of things that we will, over the course of this week, hone in on. We're going to have plenty of time here tonight to dig in on a few things. But I'm not even sure I can confidently say, here's the biggest reason the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. I'm not sure I can even say that there are a main two things that if they would have gone differently, they win that game. I will tell you, I think the vibe of this game is super, 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 super different if that Charvarius Ward holding penalty doesn't get called. Pretty ticky-tack, also not around the play. Whenever Tyrann Mathieu ends up picking off that pass on the deflection. And if Tyreek Hill catches that bomb that hits him in the face mask instead of letting it hit him in the face mask. Those two plays really could have changed a lot of things. Maybe the Bucs are playing catch up And maybe they're on the right path to do so. Maybe they end up in a deficit and they still win the game, but they would have had to have played a little bit differently. Maybe the Chiefs offense never really figures it out, but they have one touchdown early in the game in their pocket that they can use to kind of function around all of that never materialized. Travis Kelce had a killer drop on 3rd and 8, I believe it was, that he just doesn't drop. Like, the only reason that one I think of to mention, along with a couple of dropped touchdowns and a couple of overturned plays by penalty, is because Travis Kelce doesn't drop 3rd and 8 conversions that are right there, but he just didn't catch it. Plus, you have McCole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, these guys, all of the Clyde actually had a pretty nice game. Darrell Williams, CBS's camera, all of these role playing guys. They say, hey, we need you to just have your average game, and we feel pretty good about this. Obviously, the offensive line was a nightmare. But how many times this year have we said something along the lines of the Chiefs still haven't played their best game yet? Well, the Chiefs' best game will beat anybody else's best game. The Chiefs' A- game will beat anyone else's A+ game. What we saw in the Super Bowl was the Chiefs had their F game, and the Buccaneers played their A ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. The infuriating thing about it, the really disappointing thing about it, is that was the case everywhere. Everywhere. Tom Brady didn't have to do all that much. Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady didn't have to do much because everything they wanted to do was right there and it was fast. Pressure never got to him. Brady was never bothered in that game. I will say one little, silver lining. The Buccaneers wide receivers were held down pretty darn well. Now, if you look at the yardage numbers, you have to add in the Mike Evans PI and Gronk cooked L'Jarius Sneed on that long touchdown. So he's one of the corner. The receivers thing is mostly me trying to give some credit to the corners that I felt pretty good coming into this game about. I still feel pretty good about how they ended up turning out, but you have the Buccaneers bringing out their 6th lineman, and so now are you playing more linebacker snaps, or are you going to get out physical because they have an extra lineman out there? Well, if you bring out your linebacker, the Chiefs simply don't have the linebackers to hang with Cam Brate and Rob Gronkowski, and even if that's Dan Sorensen, you don't feel that great about it. You can see all these places where the Buccaneers created mismatches that were very much ending up in their favor. Running backs out of the backfield hadn't really been a big storyline about this defense since like the Packers game last year, but it showed up at the worst possible time because apparently Leonard Fournette, go ahead, Rudy.
Playoff Lenny.
All of a sudden is Le'Veon Bell in his prime, and Le'Veon Bell doesn't play a snap.
Because he's not playoff Lenny.
It's just everything except for Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to mention this part here on the front end because there's a lot of stuff that I do that deserves blame and deeper conversation, and there are going to be elements of this team that look different next year. Obviously, the whole point of the Run It Back campaign was things are going to be very similar from the Super Bowl championship team to the Run It Back team, the defending championship team. Very, very similar. That is not going to be the case this upcoming season. You have to look at, there are a lot of guys where you have some questions about, maybe they're a free agent or their money is movable, or you're wondering if your construction is quite right. And look, I don't think it's reasonable to make enormous sweeping judgments about the construction of the Kansas City Chiefs based off this game, because some of it is a real aberration from what it looks like typically. But you have all of those things I mentioned, just F games across the report card, and the matchup that you simply did not want in terms of some of the Buccaneers' real strengths ended up lining up directly across from some of the Chiefs' biggest weaknesses. And you might say, Josh, why didn't you tell me this on Friday before I bet my life savings on the Chiefs -3? First of all, I definitely never told you to do that. I did think the Chiefs were going to win this game by 10 points, though. So I was extremely wrong about some things. Why didn't you say this on Friday? Why didn't you think that this had a chance of blowing up in their face? Well, it's Seth's fault. No, the answer is that I didn't expect the offensive line to have their apocalyptic game. I didn't expect everyone not named Hill and Kelsey on the offensive side to just decide not to do anything. The Chiefs, in the two games that we've seen them in most recently, the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, it seemed like pretty much everything goes to Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. I did the math earlier today. Patrick Mahomes threw for a total of 595 yards in the AFC Championship game and Super Bowl combined. About 600 yards. 496 of those 595. 496 of 595 went to Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. 83% of the passing yards went to two players over two games. You had 99 yards receiving go to anyone other than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Now, Sammy Watkins wasn't in the AFC Championship game, and he clearly wasn't the full way back in the Super Bowl. But at this point, that is sort of a part. Just to be honest, that's a part of the Sammy Watkins sort of experience. Is you just wonder, what sort of, muscle strain, soft tissue injury, whatever is he having to play through at this point? I don't know if there's a logic to it. I don't know if the dude's got bad luck. I don't know, but that ended up keeping him off the field for the AFC Championship game, for the divisional round, and he clearly wasn't 100%, and at least his usage wasn't 100% in the Super Bowl. McCole Hardman, they tried to work into the game early, and it just isn't happening. It's at least 2 games in a row now, and it's probably about half a dozen times this year where you've gone, oh, wow, McCole Hardman, a huge part of the first 15. Maybe this is going to be the McCole Hardman game. And then whenever they stop manufacturing touches for him, he stops getting touches or targets or whatever. Demarcus Robinson disappeared the last 2 games. Marcus Kemp was out there trying to make anything happen and not successfully doing it. Byron Pringle was out there and just blips on the radar. The offensive line was put on sleds. There was one still shot that I saw just from, I don't remember which play it was, but it's Patrick Mahomes in the pocket throwing a pass. There are 3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the next level of the photo, and then there are 5 Kansas City Chiefs offensive linemen facing the wrong direction. It is literally left to right, 5 Chiefs linemen, 3 Bucs pass rushers, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. The screen game wasn't working. Linebackers, and the Bucs do have speed at linebacker. And man, if you want to try to get hopeful about like Willie Gay, let this be the thing that pushes you there. Because having speed at that position really is nice. Chiefs don't have it. Bucs did. Chiefs linemen were getting beaten to their spot on some of those screens by the Bucs linebackers, so they were blown up before they ever had any hope of actually happening. You can say, hey, so what was going on in terms of the adjustments they didn't make apparently at halftime? Daniel Jeremiah, citing Next Gen Stats, had this stat that blew my mind. The Chiefs used 5-man protection, which does not count chips, by the way. So if you chip a guy and then go run a route, this does not count. The Chiefs used 5-man protection on 92% of their dropbacks. That's 48 out of 52. Now, you might say, okay, that seems like a very high number. What is really a high number, though? Like, how often does that end up happening? From Next Gen Stats. That was the question I was asking when I saw that. I was like, all right, I don't want to overreact. 92 seems really high. But also, the Chiefs don't leave Nick Keysor in all that often. You certainly don't want to leave Travis Kelce in because he's one of 2 dudes on this team who could get a target. So you want him running routes. You wouldn't leave Tyreek Hill in to block. So you don't want to leave Kelce in to block. I get it. How often do they do that, though? Is Anthony Sherman still on this team? The Chiefs' 5-man protection usage rate, 92.3%, is the 3rd highest rate by any team since 2016 when Next Gen Stats started tracking stuff like that. They left those 5 dudes on an island more than any but 2 other teams in 2 games across the NFL since 2016. And look, if that's your opening strategy, because you want to be able to spread everything out, you want to be able to open up their defense a little bit, because they do have all that speed, you want to spread everything out, I totally understand that. I think the Chiefs' offense is generally at its best whenever it is all spread out. But you get to halftime, and you've accomplished diddly squat. There's no adjustment there. All of the RPOs that we were so sure were going to happen in this game, and this is hardly me like putting Andy Reid on blast, all right? If I think I saw like one total tweet saying the Chiefs should fire Andy Reid, which is better than it was a couple years ago, right? Maybe the ring got to some people. Hardly that, but I think this criticism is still valid. The RPOs that seemed like they were going to be there, if they materialized, I didn't catch it. Because you would think, well, you know, when you're reading an RPO, you're trying to this is in very simple terms, because this is even simpler than I understand it, which is still simpler than it actually is. You want to run the play that you think is going to have the better payoff in that moment. You're either going to hand it off to your running back and let him go, you know, hopefully into a hole where maybe the linebacker is backing up, which the Bucs were doing some of. Remember the whole Buffalo Bills first game thing where linebackers' first steps were backwards, and so they ran the ball a billion times? The maybe one situation in football when I'm like, hey, you guys should run the football more. Giving that option to Mahomes, I'm totally good with. Letting him read the RPO and decide where the ball is going to go, I'm good with 100 times out of 100. But it didn't seem like that was ever really materializing. Maybe in some part because they wanted to have the option for the running back to help out in pass pro, but that meant it was going to be Darrell Williams, because he is clearly the guy that they trust in that spot over Clyde or over Le'Veon Bell. Even though he's, at least, it's hard to say with Bell for sure, but he is a lesser receiving back than Clyde, or than the version that we've seen from Le'Veon Bell in years past. Maybe Le'Veon doesn't have it anymore. I don't know. But those RPOs never really materialized. The jet sweeps in the backfield that we talked about for 2 bleeping weeks as like a surefire lock, because you try to freeze the edges, right? If you make the edge rusher think, I might need to go try to catch McCole Hardman before he hangs the corner here, well, then maybe that buys you an extra half second. And if you're Andrew Wiley or Mike Remmers, or you're Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback behind Andrew Wiley or Mike Remmers, you would love that extra that beat, that hold on, that hesitation is so useful if you can get it. And it seemed like they weren't doing much of that. Also, to be fair, I don't know if any of those things would have really worked, because the Chiefs were being outplayed virtually everywhere. And so every one of these little criticisms, if Andy Reid, you know, called the backdoor line here, if we see that light up and then Beards picks it up, it says, hey, it's Andy Reid, I want to tell Josh he's a big, dumb idiot. Hang up on him, Beards, if that happens. Don't let Andy Reid put me on blast.
Will do.
But if he called in and said, well, here's the thing, here's why we didn't do these, all that stuff, I'm guessing there would be a genuine logic to that. I don't think he would say, yeah, I forgot about the RPOs, because I don't think Andy Reid forgot about the RPOs, and maybe they ran more of them than it seemed like, because Mahomes was reading a lot of those as pass plays, and the offense seemed like it was getting pretty hungry for anything later on. They had a lot of long third downs. The Buccaneers had a lot of very short third downs. I think the average depth of fourth down for the Bucs was like 3rd and 4. But it was just, here's what it was. And here's why I'm disappointed and why I'm confused and all of these things. Here's what the Chiefs' offense was on Sunday. It was incompetent. And I hope at this point that if you're a regular, almost entirely sports listener, if you listen to the Chiefs post-game show, whatever, if you so much as follow me on Twitter at JB Brisco, no E, that you understand this is not me saying that the Chiefs' offense is incompetent and they need like an overhaul or whatever, or that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are actually terrible. But it's jarring, because we haven't seen the Chiefs' offense fail to score a touchdown since Patrick Mahomes got here. We haven't seen them lose by more than one possession with Patrick Mahomes on the field. And the offense just didn't do anything. And I really do think that it's a lot of stuff all playing together. It's why I don't think there's one enormous wart that if they could have frozen that off, then everything else would have been beautiful. I mean, it was just about every single thing. But you have instant pressure in so many circumstances, or at least pressure before guys end up getting open downfield. They're playing a bunch of cover 2. Tyreek Hill said that they were surprised that they were playing as much zone as they were. Lots of cover 2, lots of cover 4. They're preparing for more man. I don't really know why they at least didn't sort of have break glass in case of zone when the Weeknd was out there doing his nasty thing at halftime. Like, just in case that's what they're showing you. Maybe try that, whatever. I don't know. But Tyreek Hill said after the game, like, they had a better game plan than we did. And that's not... How often do you hear that against an Andy Reid coached offense? I mean, that blows. That sucks because we don't ever hear that because it's never true. But they were taking away, with cover 2, having 2 safeties back there, they're taking away the deep stuff. All right, fine. Well, the intermediate was not the cash cow that it has been in these recent weeks. I told you this last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know, somewhere between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. I actually think the Chiefs' most deadly zone, not in the defensive type, but like an area. I think the Chiefs' most electric part of their offense is in that intermediate stuff, right at the sticks, right past it, whenever Travis Kelce is just open and feasting constantly. Typically, that's also the case in zone, and so I'm really not sure what happened there. But it just simply was not happening until, like, the fourth quarter. The depressing stats from the end of the game are also still misleading because they are inflated by the fourth quarter. Borderline garbage time, if not literally by the end of it all. The intermediate stuff wasn't there. The line was collapsing at a really quick speed at an alarmingly high rate. And Hill was having a real hell of a time getting open because they were paying all that attention to him downfield, as they probably should have been. Travis Kelce probably had his worst game with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, maybe. At the very least, he was not the instant offense, add water for offense concoction that he always is. And nobody else offensively was getting open. And I want to make it clear that I think it's all of this stuff all working together. I don't know what came first, the offensive line or the egg. I don't know if it's that the offensive line, if you could have fixed the offensive line play, would that have given the receivers enough time to get open? Maybe, but think about all those plays where Mahomes ended up creating time and still couldn't find anybody. Think, okay, well so then it's the receiver's fault. Well, think about all the times that he didn't have a chance to get the ball out because Vita Vea, as Frank Clark, I believe, once said, to paraphrase, broke in and took his bleep. Might have been Chris Jones. Someone on the Chiefs defensive line talked about that at one point, and that happened to the Chiefs on Sunday. The only thing I do feel confident about is that, in fact, I'm going to frame it my hottest take. Not only was Tom Brady not the MVP of that game, he wasn't even the most valuable quarterback on the field in the Super Bowl. You can fight me. I'm on Twitter at NotThatRudy. Tweet me your angry thoughts.
I did see Troy down there.
I've not heard from Troy.
He was down there.
He has not reached out since
he was on the field.
The time he told me to check in with him. I got to make sure that I move my 66% tweet draft over if I get like a new phone in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Really got to make sure I have that one ready to go.
Yeah, I saw Troy standing next to Cool Joe. Joe Flacco, that is.
Right. The real Cool Joe.
The real Cool Joe.
The two greatest quarterbacks of all time. Two elite quarterbacks.
2 of the top 3.
Sure. That's fair. With Terry Bradshaw.
I was going to say Tim Tebow, but...
Oh, wow. All of those issues all work together. And so I don't know if fixing X wins the game or if every single part of that offense just had their worst game at the worst time. It's probably a little bit of all of those things. But man, it looked incompetent in a way that I just had absolutely no experience seeing from an Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes offense. And Patrick Mahomes was great. He was Superman. I mean, or as Seth mentioned on Twitter at one point, I think yesterday, he was Captain America against Thanos if none of the other Avengers would have shown up at the end of Endgame. That's what he was. He was just out there and he was throwing the shield around and he was getting his tail beaten. And he fought valiantly and made a throw that literally looked like it could have only happened if he was wearing an Iron Man suit under his uniform, parallel to the ground, rocket launched a football that hit Darrell Williams in the face mask and then fell to the ground. I mean, it's just, you could start anywhere. You could use any angle of this game. We will continue. I got some stats. I got some takes. I got some thoughts. I've got some deep sadness about how this season ended, and we'll continue to talk about it.
I've got some sadness.
You have some extra sadness?
Yeah,
sad
fans.
Oh, God. I forgot about sad fans. Sad Chiefs fans on Reddit in 15 minutes. More sad three of us whenever we come back.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Hey guys, this is Stephen St. John, and you know Valentine's Day is this Sunday. Are you still looking for a great Valentine's gift for your special someone? Then give her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas available exclusively from our friends at pajamagram.com. Sensuous and smooth, just like me. Naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own soft skin. She'll love slipping these on every night all year round because the texture and touch of naturally nude pajamas is so soft and luxurious, they'll melt away her stress. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Check them out at pajamagram.com. And best of all, every pajamagram includes free gift packaging, which means you don't have to wrap a thing. Guys, time is running out. So get her naturally nude pajamas and get your free gift packaging today. Just go to pajamagram.com. It's so fast and easy, and delivery by Valentine's Day is guaranteed. That's pajamagram.com, and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
If you're between the ages of 18 and 39, here's an amazing deal for you. You can become a young professional member at Tiffany Green's Golf Club. Monthly rates starting as low as $150 a month with unlimited golf, unlimited cart usage, unlimited practice range, member discounts, and much more. So get your friends and coworkers and join in on this amazing plan and start growing your friendships while enjoying the game of golf. Whether you come out and play as much as you can after work or enjoy the day on the course on the weekend, take advantage of the Young Professionals plan at Tiffany Green's Golf Club. Go to TiffanyGreensGolf.com.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's former Jayhawk Greg Gurley. Kansas fans and alumni are in every city and state we play. If your favorite Jayhawk fans are missing home, send them some Joe's KC barbecue. Nothing beats home court and championship barbecue on game day. Joe's will ship anywhere in the U.S. It's easy to reheat, and it tastes just as good at home as it does at Joe's. You can ship all of Joe's favorites, like ribs, brisket, burn ends, and even the famous Z-Man. Ordering is easy, and it's just a few clicks away at joeskc.com.
You've probably heard Tom Shane on the radio for years, but have you actually experienced a visit to Shane Company? If you're planning to pop the question on Valentine's Day, we're the destination for you. You just gotta go to the store, or you can go online to create an engagement ring that fits your budget and reflects her personal style. We're talking a massive selection of always natural, always ethically sourced diamonds, rubies, and sapphires, plus a huge assortment of ring settings in every price range. Our team of jewelry consultants will help you find exactly what you're looking for. And you can expect zero pressure because they're all non-commissioned. When you're done collaborating, her engagement ring will look spectacular, like nobody else's ring. She'll get all the compliments, you'll get all the credit. And get this, with their warranty, if anything happens to the ring, they've got you covered for life, for free. Do yourself a favor and get your engagement ring your way, only at Shane Company.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Get your Valentine something special this year, the best version of you. Call the Kansas City Men's Clinic today for their $49 Valentine's Day special. Don't let erectile dysfunction stop you. Be the man you know you can be and take action now. Call the Kansas City Men's Clinic at 816-608-8189. That's 816-608-8189 and schedule your private consultation for only $49. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
The Chiefs are pork butts. There's a floor to pork butts. They're hard to screw up. You know they're going to be good on some level, but you need a good rub or even a good barbecue sauce after it's cooked to spice it up a little. Andy Reid is slow and steady, just like that 9-pound pork butt they've been smoking all night in the Arrowhead parking lot.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
I have absolutely no memory of reading that, but the Josh Reads the Internet music was in the background. So
I found that last night. I was making the intro. That's from old days.
That's pre-Mahomes for sure. Anyway,
I found that and I was like, oh, I need to make a liner out of that immediately.
With that liner existing, the Super Bowl offense was like those occasional tweets that'll go viral. There was some politician. I don't remember who. It was some politician, I think, from Texas. It is not important who it was. I do not remember who it was. But they just had like a brisket that looked like a dog had both made it and then eaten it for a while. And it was like, if you just Google like Texas politician brisket. In fact, Beards, you wanna show the world.
Yeah.
We really try to find it first.
I'll do that.
But you want to show here's our visual, not really visual joke in an audio medium, even just today, a visual extra thing. Beards has come up with a new system for kind of putting more stuff on the video stream as we go. You'll see what it looks like momentarily, but you can watch the show on a Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. But that brisket was essentially the one that we got on Sunday, and I don't know if that was the fault of, again, the offensive line, the receivers not getting open, the linemen not blocking, the scheme not being good, or the scheme not evolving to the issue at hand. And it's probably a little bit of all of those to varying degrees, but it wasn't fun. Let me address one thing here that came up a few times, Beards. Your microphone, it's the fact that I can tell. You know how...
Oh, I know. The fan's on.
It's not even the fan being brutal at that point.
Also, I think I found it. I'm putting it up now.
I just have gotten to a point where I can actually tell when you turn my headset on, or my mic on, I can hear it in the headphones. It's baffling. Yeah, you can see... Yeah, that's brisket family tradition.
All I hear is static, and I can't really hear myself.
Interesting.
I'd agree with you. Can't tell tonight, though, because the static is just very loud in my ears.
That's probably good. But yeah, you can see, this looks good, Beards. I got to say, our visual setup here.
We did work.
We did some good work. See? You can continue seeing us, and then, maybe I can kind of, I can look like I'm punching the brisket.
Why can't I get this person out of my feed? I just want to look at brisket.
Well, it's bad. It's bad looking brisket.
Here.
So it's not. Now it's
Move,
you on it,
people.
No, you're on the thing.
Get out of here, me. I had brisket for this is what I had for the Super Bowl. Dad cooked it on Saturday.
It wasn't that brisket, was it? It looked better than this.
Specific brisket. My dad made brisket on Saturday, and then basically just slow cooked all day Sunday.
Make people look at it, Beards. Put the brisket back up.
Oh, boy.
Put the brisket back up.
Jalapenos wrapped in bacon.
Ooh. Whew. That sounds nice. Oh, Beards. There we go.
I have leftovers for like 2 weeks. There was so much food.
That sounds nice.
It was just me and my dad. And there was just so much food. At one point, I wasn't hungry because the Chiefs were making me so sad. I was so full. And I said to myself, I'm just going to eat more
Yeah.
because
You got to sad
why
eat
not?
sometimes. You got to stress eat.
And again, not hungry at
Yep.
all.
Yep.
Eating more food was kind of causing me pain.
Yeah.
But the bread was so soft. And the brisket was so tender.
Unlike this brisket that's currently on the
It
video
looks
feed.
like it looks like someone got a can of tomato paste and a paintbrush.
I was going to say like marinara almost.
It looked almost like marinara sauce. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I'm not going to get my offensive line take off because we got distracted by
Is
the
this what the
world's
offensive
only
line looked like?
bad brisket. Maybe. I don't know, man. It was gross. But there's just so many things that left me so frustrated from that game. Whenever we come back from the next commercial break, we will get right into Sad Fans on Reddit, Super Bowl 55 edition. And the Chiefs fans were the sad ones. And so maybe this will be our kumbaya moment. Maybe we can all link arms with masks virtually and all be sad, misery-loving company and all of that. Plus, there's a lot of other things within the game itself that I really do want to look at in a little more detail, so we'll get to that, but not until after Sad Chiefs Fans on Reddit, which will be next here on Almost Entirely Sports.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. When you want Chiefs, follow the leader. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
They were better than we were. We've made too many mistakes.
I thought the guys did a good job. I mean, we just didn't execute at a high enough level. I wasn't on the same page with the receivers.
Todd Bowles, he did his thing tonight. They just had a better game plan.
First things first is I gotta be able to get open so that he's not flying around like that.
Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Finding the perfect romantic gift you'll love is easy at Diamonds Direct this Valentine's. With an expanded selection of designer jewelry and our best offer ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. Your love is always our passion at Diamonds Direct, but especially on Valentine's Day. So we're holding nothing back. Pick any item, get our best value price, and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest financing. Diamond stud earrings, diamond eternity bands, layered necklaces, pendants, bangles, colored gemstones, and of course the largest selection of diamonds and engagement rings in America. As part of the big Valentine's celebration, this entire weekend, Diamonds Direct is featuring designs by Classique. Classique has a selection of stylish, on-trend looks to help her show her unique style. Our showcases are packed for the big day, and with 5 years, 0 interest financing, everything's affordable. Shop in-store or online at diamondsdirect.com. Open Sunday, noon to 5. Happy Valentine's Day from Diamonds Direct.
At 119th and Row.
Bill was tired of saying no to his kids because of his debilitating pain.
I have 3 kids that are 13 and under. Every day they're asking, Dad, can we take a bike ride? Dad, can we play ping pong? Unfortunately, in the past, I had to sadly say no quite often.
An accident left Bill with aching knees and shoulders. Even after 4 knee surgeries, Bill still felt constant pain in his knees. And then he discovered QC Kinetics and their regenerative cell therapies.
I did it on the knee. It really became life-changing. I've had the same results with the shoulder.
QC Kinetics non-invasive regenerative cell treatments help restore damaged tissue and provide amazing relief for knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. Right there in the office, no downtime. Bill's able to say yes to just about anything these days.
Like taking my kids to Disney World and walking 10 miles a day at Disney, bike riding, taking a walk on the beach.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. Off 435 and State Line, 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is Zipline? It's Golden Oak's fast and easy online mortgage tool that leaves you with more time to plan a family movie night.
I get to pick the movie.
And clean up the popcorn you weren't planning on sharing. At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it. Right now, rates are at a historic low 2.5%. Visit goldenoaklending.com to use Zipline. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on a conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
Hey, it's Rick from upstairs. Yeah, I take it seriously. When I play R&B at 1 a.m, that's me saying, hey, I'm here for you. And I enjoy repetitive bass lines. I only use expired batteries in my smoke detectors. Nice, right? Yeah, upstairs neighbors help people forget their troubles. Give them something else to focus on. Ooh, want to see how high I can jump?
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor.
No, wait, let me try again.
But we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
The Kansas City Comets are back in action on Friday night, February 12th at 7 p.m. at Cable Dahmer Arena against the St. Louis Ambush. Kansas City Comets soccer is fast, furious, high-scoring action for the entire family. And parking is always free at Cable Dahmer Arena. And this season, all seats are socially distanced for fan safety. Get your tickets today for the Kansas City Comets versus the St. Louis Ambush on Friday, February 12th by calling 888-9-COMETS or by visiting Ticketmaster.com.
Number one all day, every day. Kansas City's hometown radio station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810. WHB, Kansas City.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Jim Basquil. Russell Wilson wants to be part of the Seattle solution. The quarterback telling the Dan Patrick Show he's frustrated with the amount of times he's been hit throughout his career and expressed a desire to be more involved with the team's personnel decisions. Those comments mark the first time he's publicly expressed displeasure of any aspect with the team that drafted him in 2012. Marcus Spears on Russ going public with those concerns.
I do not like Russ coming out publicly and saying he needs to be protected better. We understand it, we get it, but the dynamics of a locker room, man, that is the quickest way to fracture it. Because he has O-linemen on his team looking at him say that.
More quarterback news. Patrick Mahomes will have surgery this week on the turf toe he suffered during the playoffs. Should be ready for training camp. And Chiefs outside linebackers coach Britt Reed has been placed on administrative leave following Thursday's multi-vehicle accident that left a 5-year-old girl in critical condition. They are a sub-500 team against sub-500 teams, and that trend is continuing tonight for the Brooklyn Nets at the Palace of Auburn Hills, trailing the Detroit Pistons fourth quarter 101-94. They have Kyrie Irving back in the lineup while Kevin Durant remains out. Derrick Rose making his debut for the Knicks, returning to New York. They're playing in Miami, and New York is up top 68-65. Rose has 10 points. College basketball here at the top of the hour. 7th-ranked Texas Tech home to number 14 West Virginia, and a final from college hoops. 11th-ranked Alabama 81-78 winners over South Carolina. NHL has postponed tonight's Flyers-Caps game because of COVID-19 related issues with Philadelphia. It's the 34th postponement this season.
Coming up Wednesday, the Super Bowl odds for next season are already out, and we'll rank our top contenders. Find out why the champs are not in the top spot. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, Wednesday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
The FCC is sitting in the front seat of the van while Beards and sad fans on Reddit is sitting in the back of the van.
Yes.
And Beards is like, don't you touch him. Do not touch your brother. And Beards is just leaning over with his pointer finger just half an inch away from sad fans' face. I'm not touching him. Beards, don't you touch him. I'm not touching. There are 74 bleeps in here, but I'm not touching him.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Maybe what we all really need right now is to be sad along with people on Reddit. Maybe that is going to be the cure-all for the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl, the world generally being pretty awful. Maybe this will help. If you don't know, and it would make sense if you didn't know how this goes whenever the Chiefs lose, because the Chiefs haven't lost in a minute.
I think I've done like 6 of those total. Maybe?
I believe I saw somewhere that the Chiefs went a total of...
I'm thinking playoffs as well.
I think they've lost 3 games each of the last 2 years, I guess, would be at least... Is that right? Yeah, they went 13-3 last year, then didn't lose. 14-2 this year, and then did lose. Their loss at the end of this year didn't really matter. It was not really hurtful. Even though you may have done sad Chiefs fans, it was Chiefs fans being sad about, like, Chad Henne not beating Justin Herbert.
Right.
So what Beards does for every Kansas City Chiefs game, including the rare instances in which the Chiefs lose said game, he goes into the game thread of the losing team subreddit, collects things that they say. Some of the things that really cut to the core, mostly complaining about the referees and Tony Romo. My concern is that this is going to be very... I make fun of other fans whenever they complain about referees and Tony Romo. Beards is already laughing.
Oh, boy.
Because if I could get odds on there being, I don't know, over under 10.5 comments about either referees or Tony Romo, I think I would take the over.
Oh, boy.
Is that combined, or is that just you pick, or is that just
I'm saying
one
total.
of them has to be over?
I'm saying total between the two of them. Just sort of not really about things actually happening in the game. Beards is continuing to smirk and not say anything.
No comment.
Oh, boy. I know how this is going to go. I saw Twitter.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Well, it brings me no joy, but it is our solemn duty to bring you Sad Fans on Reddit, Super Bowl 55, Kansas City Chiefs edition.
Oh, boy.
And now, a list of things that Kansas City Chiefs fans said on Reddit after not winning the Super Bowl. All right, quit throwing them a coal, SMH. Hardman, what are you doing? Please pull your head out of your ass, Hardman. Just hold them scoreless and we win. Easy peasy. So holding is only a defensive penalty then. Nothing opens up a game more than a flag. Okay, defense, let's not do that again. Can Tony Romo suck butt any harder? Jesus. I guess the game plan was to get Hardman involved early while the Bucs focused on stopping Tyreek and Kelsey. But that doesn't account for the fact that Hardman has terrible game awareness. For a week, we had to hear about Brady not getting a first quarter touchdown, then a bullshit holding call exactly when it was needed. Garbage-ass screenplay on third down. Great job. These guys will literally choke each other out on the field during plays, but if you tap someone after the play, you get 15 assault charges and fired. Oh, look, a special teams up. Who would have guessed? So they deflate the Tampa Bay footballs and overinflate the Chiefs? I don't want to see Neiman again in my life after this game. Good to know the NFL is still on Brady's. Of course, it's Neiman.
Yeah, I'm going to go and count that one.
You're not allowed to touch anyone on Brady's team. You have to understand that. Flag now? Brady's Wi-Fi must be slow. Tom Brady is the Karen of the NFL. Kelsey out there getting piggybacked with no flags. I'd like one game where they didn't give me heart failure. Just send the O-line home. They're basically not there anyway. Mike Evans is doing his best Neymar impression, I see. Pass interference. Everyone except the Buccaneers on every play. We will automatically grant Tom Brady 50 points on this play because we can. I guess we can't play physical anymore.
I'm at 10 right now.
Brady throws the ball out of the end zone. Refs. Chiefs clearly did something wrong here. Flag. Okay, maybe we turn it around if I heat up some prime rib and Joe sauce. And now, the Coca-Cola halftime show.
No!
Of things that people on Reddit said about the NFL halftime. Not limited to just Chiefs fans. When is Pepsi going to invest in good audio for these halftime shows?
Good, fair point.
He spent millions of his own money on this?
Also,
did he order from Wish?
Also a good point.
This Cyberpunk update is looking tight.
That one's funny.
That's
weird cult vibes.
Also true.
I swear to God, if I hear Blinding Lights one more time, oh, the Bible thumpers are going to be all over this one. Satanic imagery for the youth. Hey guys, is the halftime show sponsored by Pepsi? I can't remember. Remember when the Super Bowl had real musical acts?
Get out of here!
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Get out of here, boomer!
This camera nonsense is so. Is this drugs?
Yes.
I totally believe he threw $7 million of his own money at these set pieces. This spinning in mirrors is not good for my drunk ass. Point of view. You are a coke dealer at a high-end nightclub. He sounds like your drunk, kinda good at singing friend having an off night at a karaoke. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID dancers. Every boomer parent in America is legit so confused right now.
Yes.
LMAO.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's a good yes.
Feels like I'm
My
trapped
dad
in the
liked
most
it.
elaborate TikTok of all time. Is it just me?
It's a
but
good take.
if I didn't know The Weeknd and someone told me that he'd been singing one song the whole time, I would believe him. Will the audio mixing guy be more infamous than Left Shark? Oh, we're in a pandemic? Let's put 20 people in a very small room and tell them to bump into each other for the sake of a halftime show.
They were wearing a mask.
Is The Weeknd a Far Cry villain? First motion sickness, now seizures.
That was Beard's
Oh,
comment.
here is the most overplayed song.
Yes, JCPenney. I need 735 red blazers.
And now the winner of things that people said about the halftime show. Is this what LaCroix sounds like? As a Chiefs fan, I love barbecue.
Why did that one win?
McCall sucks turkey. Refs when Chiefs are defending.
No.
NSA.
12.
Refs when Bucks are defending. Stevie Wonder. McCall soft man. Well, time to switch to bourbon. Rubbing alcohol for outside
McCall
hurts.
soft man's very
Drinking
good.
alcohol for inside hurts. Chiefs have more penalty yards than Mahomes' passing yards. This is why I do drugs. Oh yeah, really glad Sue and Antonio Brown could get their Super Bowl wins. Again, should be noted that these dudes live in Florida. Poor. It would never happen in a zillion years, but I'd love a PED test for Brady after this game. I bet his blood content is like 2/3 HGH.
It's all water. It's actually
Good
just
thing
water.
that was the practice game. We'll be ready for him next week. I dislike Tom Brady. That Amazon commercial of a guy getting by an Alexa dildo really creeped me out. Tommy and Giselle about to put in some serious overtime with the refs tonight. Well, that sucked. Comment. Which performance was worse? Defense or offensive line? Reply. Yes. Not gonna lie. Townsend really pissed me off. We need a punter competition. It's ridiculous. The dropped pass to Tyreek in the first quarter set the tone. The fourth down goal line stop was wasted. Tommy Townsend played like that stupid lineup offsides. The holding call was bullshit on that interception. The DPI was marginal. We totally blew it by calling timeouts before the half. The penalty changing a field goal to a touchdown and then the free TD at the end of the half was pretty much sealed it.
Yep.
Also, one of the refs has a son named Brady, named after Tom, of course.
That might be the best Reddit comment.
Just wanted to
we've ever
apologize
had.
for Remmers. As a Giants fan, he was horrendous for us and couldn't keep Eli/Jones from eating dirt. That game was like a nightmare. I can barely remember it. On the bright side, the Chiefs finally got stuck up a ring. Might as well rename football to Brady Ball. No one, no team is going to catch him. So shitty. Turns out even a generational talent needs an offensive line. I never want to watch football ever again. Bad reffing and an even worse O-line. It was like watching a Mayweather fight. I'm just glad we won last year and f***ed up the AFC West again. Better to lose here than be a Raiders or Broncos fan. Chargers are cool.
That's fair.
And now, the bronze medal. Things that Chiefs fans said on Reddit. With the 31st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select some f***ing offensive tackle, I don't care what university. And now, the silver medal. How do you let JPP's Ninja Turtle-ass hands knock that? And now, the winner. I guess. Of things that Chiefs fans said on Reddit. Well, on to the Royals' losing season. Huzzah!
And good news, though, somebody did win the back-to-back Super Bowl last night.
Shady! LaShawn McCoy did not register a carry in either Super Bowl.
Got 2 rings.
Does have 2 rings.
He was there in spirit.
He was there in body,
And
just on the sideline.
And Steven Nelson basically won an honorary one. He was happier than he would have been if he had actually won the Super Bowl.
He would have no way of knowing, of course, but
no way.
First of all, I have between 13 and 15 ref plus Romo comments. I think probably 11 or 12 of those were referee-based, so I think I nailed the over-under.
I thought going into it there were going to be a significant amount of, obviously, ref ones.
Yeah.
I thought there would be lesser Romo ones because, he's built up some cachet here.
That's fair.
Now,
I didn't expect Reddit to let him cash that in, though.
Yeah, and now maybe this was just Beers didn't find a good one. I am surprised there was not a comment about Tony Romo peeing his pants in the middle of the game.
Yeah, it looked like he might have peed on his pants a little
That
bit.
I'm surprised there wasn't.
I don't think I saw any.
That I'm surprised. Romo probably peed his pants a little bit.
It seemed like outside of pants pee, right?
It happens.
Or do you think he peed his pants in sort of the traditional sense?
Yeah,
it looked like
I think
he went
likely
to the bathroom.
went to the bathroom, thought he was done. Turns out he wasn't. There's a little drip.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We've all been there.
Oh, buddy's nerfect.
Tony Romo's just like us. He's just the average guy.
It's not Tony Romo's first off-target. Well, here's the thing.
You don't have to complete the joke. We know.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Fumble.
Here's the thing about that joke. If it was in a written form, it would have been way funnier. But I'm gonna go ahead and go for it anyway. You know what it was actually? Hold on, I'm gonna land the plane. You know what it was there, Rudy? You know what Tony Romo had?
What do you have?
Threw an incomplete piss.
So dumb. It's very good. But
Do I get any sound of any sort? Can I get a not the fan?
Actually, you know what? The fan drowns out the static in my right ear, so crank it.
What was I think that one long comment was the best comment that maybe we've ever had from Reddit just in terms of content. Not really. No, I'm just shouting it out.
Yeah,
What was the
good.
winner of the weekend halftime show?
This is what LaCroix sounds like.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
But
that's all that matters. That's why it's a winner. It made me laugh.
That's fine. That is not a democracy.
Are we talking about LaCroix, the drink, I
Yes.
assume? There's
Yeah.
not like
Yes.
some band named LaCroix that
No.
I didn't know about? Okay.
No.
I just didn't get it. But that's fine. It's all, listen, you're not playing to a three-man board at this
Playing
point.
to a one-man.
You
It's a
got to
one-man
make
game.
Beards laugh.
It's a one-man game.
I have very serious offensive line takes that we'll save for next segment. Should we talk about the halftime show for a second? Can we do that?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank commercials if we want.
This is going to be kind of the halftime. I'll admit this on the front end. I remember like one of the commercials vaguely. I was still trying to keep up, and I just
I went
Now-
through yesterday and found a
Didn't.
list of all of them and just pulled a bunch of them to watch.
Some of it, now a decent amount of that was intentional, right? Like a lot of companies had even like kind of said, hey, we're not really going to do the funny ha-has this year.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
There were still a handful.
for
I just
sure.
don't really remember them. I remember that Matthew McConaughey told me
Yes.
that Doritos 3D could cure my depression.
People,
That's what I think that the plot of that commercial
I
was.
saw people not like mad at that commercial, and I thought it was genius. I thought it was great.
It was decent, yeah.
Here's the thing. I legit thought the way that it was set up, it was going to be like maybe it was going to be like a really kind of avant-garde like commercial for one of the like online therapy companies or something. Because the whole thing was like, I feel like I'm not really here.
Not complete.
Something like that. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, here's my solution: fat Doritos.
I mean, if you go back to not last Friday, but 2 Fridays ago, you'll hear a segment about how a Dorito taco shell makes the world a better place. So
That's true.
like,
That's true. Imagine if it was a
I
3D
don't know.
Dorito taco.
I think my favorite one was the, and I forget what car company it was, but it was the Will Ferrell, Aquafina, and
I think it was General Motors
I don't
commercial.
think I saw that
Where
one.
he had to go to
Oh,
like
so
Norway or
good.
something.
Who was the third
Oh,
person
yeah.
though who was in it? Because
I don't remember.
The point of the commercial is that Norway has more electric cars than us,
Yeah.
and his whole thing was like, "We're coming for you." I forget who else he called with Aquafina,
Don't remember.
but they ended up in Finland, and he ended up in Sweden, and it was very funny.
Can I tell you something? Give you a little funny little piece specific on that commercial.
Yes.
I got an email on Wednesday or Thursday, I think, and the headline said like media availability, Will Ferrell GM commercial for more electric cars, or whatever.
Oh, Keenan Thompson, that's who it was. Keenan Thompson.
I opened the email because it's like Radio Row.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that come on. They need to promote their thing. They'll talk to you for 8 minutes, and so it says Will Ferrell media availability, Will Ferrell commercial, whatever GM. And I open the email. I'm like, oh, I talked to Will Ferrell for 8 minutes.
Sure.
Scroll down. If you'd like to talk to the PR whatever person at General Motors, you give us a time between this and then, and we'll have them on. And I just didn't. I just
you're not
closed the email and went on to the next thing. Because listen, more electric cars, less fossil fuels.
Cool.
Sounds great. Great work. Glad you're doing it.
You're not Will Ferrell.
You are not Will Ferrell. And so I don't really care to talk to you.
You're probably fine, but you're not Will Ferrell. And
Is it
That's
my
all right.
headphones, or does Beards' mic being on sound the exact same volume as my own voice? You have no way of knowing.
I have static in my right ear. Like I'll have to have you listen to it during the commercial break so you have an understanding of
Great.
what I mean by like there is a significant amount of static in my ear.
Excellent.
But the problem is if I have my headset plugged into this jack, then I can't really hear anything. And so it's either it's either hear you pretty well, but with no static, can't hear myself at all.
I mean, there's the
or
third jack on the far
hear
side.
the three of you very well. Yeah, well, I'm over here, Beards.
You have a long cord.
All the way over there. Or it's jacking over here. I can hear you guys at least, and myself, which makes me feel better because we can't hear yourself and you're talking with headphones on. It's hard to explain why it's such a big deal, but I don't like it. But also the static.
It just sounds like the jack's off.
Yeah. I forgot my actual headphones. I'm wearing other headphones. So hopefully tomorrow I'll
I just saw several tweets about Kentucky. What happened?
Oh, boy.
What just happened? What happened, Rudy?
Oh, boy.
What happened?
So I didn't see all of it, but basically I think the simple explanation was they were up in the second half, which I think now they've been up. I saw they've been ahead in the second half all but like 4 games this year, yet they're 5-13 now, which feels hard to do, right? Like like the Chiefs having a lead in like 60-something straight games or whatever, or 20-something straight games. That typically correlates to winning a lot because you have the lead.
Right.
To Kentucky, it doesn't.
Right.
Which is weird.
Did it happen again tonight?
Yeah, they had a lead, and then they got down by a lot, and then they came back and tied it, and then they lost in the last second again.
Who did they lose to tonight?
Arkansas. It's pretty good this year, but it's Arkansas. Kentucky's they're bad, man. Bad basketball team.
But a football school.
Football school for sure.
I thought the weekend's halftime show was good,
football
by the way. I'm willing to say it. Here's the other thing. Here's my hottest take. It's not just, look, halftime show's pretty much always going to be divided up by like generational and frequently racial lines. That's just going to be the fate of it forever, except for whenever we can all agree that Maroon 5 wasn't very good.
It wasn't.
You might be able to get people to unite against
we don't
one.
talk about that whole Super Bowl.
When Red Hot Chili Peppers came out with them, that was pretty fire.
You might. Oh wow, we found. We
and
found.
Sterling.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's well,
hyped.
it's because it's
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
late 20s, early 30s, whatever. White dudes liked that halftime show.
My first memory, like music video memory, was a Red Hot Chili Peppers music video. That's like
just
my first
flee with his
MTV.
dong out.
It was California.
Is Flea the one is the one who takes his dong out all the time, right?
I don't know. I don't know any of their names actually.
Sterling will get in on this.
Yeah,
If Sterling, I'll tell you what. If
here's the
Sterling's within 50 yards of a radio, he'll text me.
I really like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I really like their music. I could not tell you, I'm not Sterling level, right? Where like Sterling knows the names and all that stuff. Also, I'm not really good at knowing names of people in a band.
Well, if you Google Flea, you get a Wikipedia article about the musician, and if you click images, you get a bunch of pictures of fleas. So
I like Panic at the Disco Night. Just assume the lead singer's name is Panic. And one of them's name is Atta, and one's is Disco.
Yeah, like that famous, the famous band from Great Britain a handful of years ago.
Yeah, the Beatles.
Yeah, John, Paul, George, Ringo. What are you doing? What do you mean you think?
I know them. I just typically do not know that. It's very rare that I actually know the names of individual members of a band.
Can fleas live in human hair?
Probably.
How do you get rid of fleas?
I would assume they can.
And then you can follow Flea on Twitter.
Do they take their wieners out if they're living in your hair?
Great question.
I mean, I think that they're just always out. They don't wear clothes.
Do they do that when they're rocking hard?
Gross.
I think they rock hard.
Gross.
24/7.
Bad. Gross. Hate it.
I don't think you can just like choose when to turn on and off the rock and roll switch. I think you just rock hard 24/7, or you don't rock hard at all.
Hate it. All bad. All sucks. Like a flea. Sucking my life force out over the radio. Just die. Oof. Really hate it a lot. Flea market. I like the halftime show.
Was Flea the one that was in the Dune movie? The Dune movie that wasn't that good?
I was about to say the Dune movie.
I can't even remember if he's famous for having his dong out or not. You think I'm going to remember if he was in a bad Dune movie?
Let me check.
I have no idea.
No, it was Sting.
Which Sting? There's two Stings.
I think Flea's bite.
Sting the musician or Sting the wrestler?
Sting the musician.
Gotcha.
As in Sting and the Police.
Wait, why would Sting the Police?
He was the lead singer of the Police.
What happens if you flee the police?
You get Sting.
I guess, well, Josh, honestly, there are variables in there.
That's a good point, Rudy.
I can't give you that answer without a little bit more information.
That's a great point.
Beard just got nervous.
He sure did. Beard just got very quiet.
I just didn't have anything to continue with that.
I thought the Weeknd's halftime show was pretty good. The audio really wasn't mixed well, which is weird that continues to be a problem at halftime shows. But I enjoy the Weeknd.
Same.
So I was fine with it. I thought I enjoyed it.
Yeah, same.
And my mom probably didn't. I'm cool with it. It's fine.
My dad said he did, but that might have just been because I was there.
Can someone please tell me if Flea takes his dong out on stage?
Also, we got maybe an all-time meme from it. If you can ever perform
it's a good meme.
It's
a good meme.
It just applies to so many good things. Like it's really good.
You remember when we thought the Shakira tongue thing was going to be a meme that lasted forever a year ago, and like nobody uses it anymore?
I mean, memes aren't meant to last long. It doesn't mean it's like memes are generally meant to die pretty quickly.
I thought Flea was famous for wearing a sock on his dong.
He could be.
But I don't know how to Google that.
That he's not.
Well, Josh, you log into the company Wi-Fi.
I actually have to have my VPN working, otherwise I just can't connect to it. It's not even a joke.
Mm-hmm.
They called it Socks on Bleeps. The first time the Red Hot Chili Peppers performed naked.
The first time?
Well, yeah, they did it multiple times, Beards. If you're going to perform naked, you don't just do it once.
The decision to perform in just the lone sock covering was an idea formed by somebody else. This strange decision would pay dividends for the band quickly as it gained them notoriety around California. As word soon spread about their and club owners then began booking the group on the condition that they would perform in this manner. Wow.
I mean, that'll do it.
All right, at least I know that I had that information right. Important information.
You want to get people talking? Do whatever it is that you're doing. Just do it naked.
Ooh, here's my other hot take about the Weeknd and the halftime show. I know we've all heard blinding lights in the commercial about the halftime show for like a good 6 months now. Still slaps.
It's a good song.
Song's a banger.
It's a good song.
Just because a song gets popular and overplayed doesn't mean that it's no longer a good song.
I like it.
Also, sometimes popular things are good.
It's very true.
You don't have to hate popular things to be, a hashtag cool dude.
Well, it's a good thing we're not popular because we're not good.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no reason to like us.
I would just say we're ahead of our time. And we keep doing keep doing shows wearing clothes. I think that's our problem. I think we just need to follow the Red Hot Chili Peppers here. I think that's the step.
I mean, Dick, Justice is always naked. So there's that.
Not incorrect.
The wiener dog.
I mean, he wears a hat, right? Or wait,
no.
no.
He's got
his collar.
Yeah, he's got a collar.
But then he's got the little AES pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is clothed. Accessories.
In shame.
Are accessories clothes? If you are wearing just accessories, are you clothed? Philosophical question there. That word got me.
Do you think I could just order just 3 socks from Amazon? There's like a 3-pack of socks.
Absolutely. 1.5 pairs.
I was thinking like 2 ankle socks and then like a tube sock.
Yeah, you can get that.
You know, a segment's gone to an interesting place when none of the 3 of us can look at any other ones. I'm just looking at TweetDeck, just waiting for like, I don't know.
Anything?
The Chiefs are going to draft a lineman. Wow, great. Good news. Good news. I'd like to flee this segment. I got very serious offensive line takes. We'll talk about those whenever we come back, unless something else happens, like happened to this segment, in which case I can make no promises. Anybody got a joke? Doesn't even have to be a good one.
So 2 fleas walk into a bar.
That's nothing. 1 flea walks into a sock.
Was he in Dune?
Let me ask you a follow-up question, Beards. Did Dune have a character who is prominently known for wearing nothing but a sock?
I don't know. I never read the book. It's been a while since I saw the movie. They're remaking it though, so who knows?
Starring Timothy Chalamet and 1 tube sock.
I'm still not totally sure, like how he's famous. I don't really
Flea
know
or
what he
Timothy
did.
Chalamet?
Both. Well, I mean, I know why Flea is. He got naked. As far as I know, Timothy Chalamet has never been naked.
He's a never nude?
As far as I know, I've never seen it.
I guess that's fair.
He was on SNL, totally clothed.
Wow. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and end this segment approximately 9 minutes after we should have.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
If ever there was a time to give that special someone in your life the gift of spa, it's now. A spa experience will deliver stress relief and pure relaxation. Par Excellence gift cards can be purchased through the Par Excellence website or the Par Excellence app. We appreciate your support of small local businesses, and we will get through this together.
Greg Gurley here for Buck Roofing. The only consistent thing about Kansas City weather is change. There's only one company I trust, and that's the same company I called to work on my mom's house, Buck Roofing. Put this number in your phone, 913-384-2680. I'm a Jayhawk, and we know Ron's a Wildcat. The only thing we both agree on is Buck Roofing is the best roofer in all of Kansas City. Your home is probably your biggest investment, which is why you need a trusted roofing company to repair or replace your roof. And that company is Buck Roofing. When Ron Buck and his team repair or replace your roof, you know they will be here years from now to take care of anything you need for the life of your roof. Need a little help with financing? Buck Roofing can arrange that as well. For all your repair and replacement needs, call Buck Roofing, 913-384-2680 or online at rbuckroofing.com. Sleep well knowing Buck Roofing fixed the roof over your head.
Hey guys, it's time to think about Valentine's Day. So give her a gift she will cherish forever and hand down to the next generation. Get her jewelry from Mazaris. Now is a great time to pop the question with a one-of-a-kind engagement ring, or let them design the perfect ring for you. Whether a classic watch or designer necklace, it's at Mazaris Jewelry. Come in and experience superior customer service, or shop online at MazarisJewelry.com. Mazaris Jewelry in Leawood, Kansas. In the business of forever.
Want a low fixed rate in the twos? It's yours. Looking for a true no-cost loan? You got it. How does A1 Mortgage do this? The answer is simple. By offering real-time rates without the inflated markup. Call A1 Mortgage now at 816-822-8888, 822-8888. Whether you're purchasing or refinancing, FHA, VA, conventional, or jumbo. A1 Mortgage has you covered with fixed rates starting in the 2s, true no-cost loans, and financing up to 100%. Call A1 Mortgage now and have your loan closed in about a week and enjoy no payments for 2 months. 816-822-8888. That's 822-8888. Or apply online at mya1mortgage.com.
A1 Mortgage, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
A1 Mortgage Group LLC, a Kansas licensed mortgage company. License number MC0001649, NMLS 268370. Programs and rates subject to change without notice.
With its dedication to bringing wellness to Kansas City, CBD American Shaman is excited to announce the opening of Shaman's Leawood Total Wellness at 117th and Row in Leawood, offering primary care, family medicine, hormone replacement therapy, medical weight loss, medical aesthetics, and IV nutrient therapy. Stop by today to see everything they have to offer, including a full-service CBD American Shaman store. Start your journey at LeewoodTotalWellness.com. Life is better with the feather.
Today on Hey Culligan, hard water hurts appliances. Go for Glenn in Glenview.
Hey Culligan, my appliances aren't that old and they're already on the fritz.
Sounds like your hard water might be giving your water appliances a hard time, but there is hope in the form of a Culligan high-efficiency water softener that helps extend the life of dishwashers, washing machines, heating systems.
Okay, hey Culligan?
Yeah, Glenn?
Yeah, hook me up.
Glenn, one high-efficiency appliance-saving softener already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Pushing the boundaries of acceptable sluttiness.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, I want to talk about the Chiefs' offensive line. I'm going to give you very serious takes and try to fix some bad narratives. This is going to be a weeks, if not months-long process, but I am going to start with the Chiefs' offensive line. I also will note that a handful of people, it looks like, across the Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook pages have asked about Terez Paylor. He passed away today at the age of 37. It is an impossible story to talk about and then pivot back and forth to the stupidity of something like our last segment. So we talked about it at the top of the show. I think the first hour is probably podcasted at this point. So if you want to hear, I talked about it for 10 or 15 minutes. It's devastating. It's just a devastating piece of news. But basically, my best chance at bringing that up and then also doing a radio show that does the things that this show usually does was to kick off the show with talking about losing Terez, and then going into all the things that this show tends to do on a normal night. So definitely aware of it. I think someone asked if yes, definitely aware of it. And we'll talk about it also with Seth Keysor here in a little bit as well, because I know he'll have a story to share. So wanted to at least mention, definitely know about it. And it is horrible. So we talked about it some at the beginning of the show. If you want to hear my thoughts more so than this, or in some of my experiences and how I felt seeing that news today, the answer is bad. We talked about it earlier. Well, here, I'll say this again quickly. I think it's pretty. It's a pretty good way to measure how someone impacted the people around them by what you see whenever they're gone. And if you look at Twitter of just sports media folks, especially those in Kansas City, plenty nationally as well, you will find absolute unanimous choruses of people say the same things about Terez, that he was an excellent man, an excellent reporter, excellent person to be around. It's absolutely unanimous. So, did want to mention it again though, just so people know we've talked about him and did it at the top of the show in a way that would try to keep this awkward sort of transition from Flea to an incredibly devastating story. Just sort of stop my day in its tracks earlier. And then to start talking about the Chiefs' offensive line. It's incredibly awkward, incredibly clunky. But it is what it is. which is incredibly awkward and incredibly clunky. So you can go check out the first hour of the podcast if you want to hear more on that. And you can go read, I'll tell you this also, you go read what Sam Mellinger and what Vahe Gregorian wrote on kansascity.com, already up. What they wrote about Terez is moving and personal and excellent. It's an excellent reflection of if you knew Terez on some level, I think you'll be happy with how they've characterized him. If you wish you knew him better, that will help. If you never knew him at all but respected his work, it'll get you to know him more. So check out what both of them wrote. Both really, really excellent. Pivot to offensive line. It's stupid, man. It's so... Listen, and here's what we'll probably do. We're going to have a really short segment at some point this hour in all likelihood, so maybe it's just going to be this one, and then we'll come back and do some more, serious Super Bowl talk. This also, the Chiefs have put Britt Reed on administrative leave. That broke tonight as well, which makes sense. They're investigating everything, and so the police is investigating everything. It's going to take a while before they have details on that. The 5-year-old girl hasn't woken up yet and is still in the hospital. I mean, this has just been a mother bleeper of a couple of stories, man. Marty Schottenheimer died today, and that's devastating because Alzheimer's is a devastating disease that just rips people apart. I mean, it's just terrible.
And he's the reason I for both of us, we remember Marty as I think mostly as the Chargers coach, but for so many people in the city, he's the reason why they became Chiefs fans. So it's there's that impact
to some extent. Did something very similar to what Andy Reid did coming to Kansas City, being like, "Yo, let's fix some stuff.
Things have been bad.
Yeah,
let's turn that around.
Let's get a real head coach here to put some things in place and to build this culture back up." And he did that here.
Something I appreciated with him, and I was we kind of not to.
No, please. I think this segment's just gonna. I think this segment's just gonna be kind of a bummer, and then we're gonna.
And I do want to mention something actually about Terez as well.
Sure, please.
It's weird because you would be. I did not know Terez personally. I'm trying to remember if we ever even necessarily exchanged words, but there were times where we were in the same room
for sure.
And you would be at Chiefs and their media room, and you would have people like James Palmer and Ed Werner, who are huge, big celebrities, right? Those people are extremely successful.
Both have great hair.
Yes, and when Terez would walk in,
James has great hair.
There was this. You could feel it. You didn't even have to actually see him walk in to know that he had walked in. Yep. He had this aura behind him that you really did. It just felt different when he walked in. I don't know how to totally explain it, but you could have your back to the door and immediately know when Terez walked in because it just felt different.
It's something that he earned with everybody. That was not forced upon anyone. That was picked up. That sweet, Terez is here today. Yeah.
And now to transition to Marty, the one thing is because I've heard a lot of his famous speeches and his ability to motivate people, and I appreciate a head coach, especially in that time in a sport that is very much about macho, physical.
Yeah,
we're gonna hit you. That it was never about degrading people. It really was just about. It was never about I have to break you down to build you up. It was just let's go. We're in this together. I appreciate that kind of motivation, and especially in an era in which just dropping bleeps left and right. And calling guys, little girls or something, would have been just accepted. And that's just that wasn't his thing. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah. People listening on podcasts are going to get whiplash from this hour.
Yeah.
This hour is going to give you whiplash. Yeah, it just is. But that's also kind of just the reality that we're all living in.
That's been the last. I mean, really, we're almost at a full calendar year now, pretty much.
I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, I suppose, for sort of the existential doubt of the meaninglessness of all the things that we're talking about. That's always sort of true.
We're approaching the Big 12 tournament, and that is the anniversary of when things really got strange.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break, and maybe I'll come back with serious offensive line takes to make this.
But probably not.
I mean, listen, we'll see. Because here's the thing: I feel like if I do come back and talk about offensive line takes, we'll have gone from sad fans on Reddit to jokes about penis socks to really heartbroken tributes to people that we've lost today. and then to serious NFL analysis. I mean, if that, I'll tell you what, is that sloppy and awkward and unideal? Absolutely. Is that legitimate? Sure is. That's just where we're at right now. It's kind of where all of us are at. Also, the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl on Sunday. Just kind of just another thing that happened. Weird time that we're in. Hopefully we can make it a little bit better for you. I don't know. We'll keep trying at the very least whenever we come back.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
Harry's Razors just came out with their sharpest blades ever. But unlike other razor companies, they're not charging you more. Harry's new sharper blades are still as low as $2 each. You heard me right, just $2. How do they do it? Harry's owns a German factory that's been honing razor blades for 100 years. They source their steel from Sweden and own the entire manufacturing process, from research and development to the factory floor. It allows them to keep the prices lower. How confident are they? A 100% quality guarantee. You'll see it at harrys.com. Blades are even delivered directly to you. No getting unmasked and standing in line. They're delivered straight to your door, with or without a subscription. And right now, Harry's has a great offer for my listeners. New customers get $5 off a Harry's trial set when you use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, at harrys.com. That's a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3, plus free shipping. That's razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for $3, shipped to you for free. Only at harrys.com, only with promo code PETRO. Winter is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine Exterminators is a family-owned, local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. So call today at 913-359-8627.
Hi there, Gary Joslin, the owner of Joslin's Jewelry. For the last 38 years, I personally have been trying to be the best jeweler in the Kansas City area. The finest diamonds, the best customer relationship. Go online and check our website out. That's joslinsjewelry.com. Our family loves us. You're not a friend of our family. You are our family when you come in Joslin's Jewelry. If you need help with a piece of jewelry, Joslin's Jewelry is one of the most recommended jewelry stores in town. Hundreds and hundreds of recommendations from all these people for all these years. Joslin's Jewelry, the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends too. Thanks for coming and seeing Joslin's. 95th in Antioch, 435 in Antioch. Go north 1 mile, you can't miss us. We're the jeweler you'll love to go back to. That's joslinsjewelry.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. I played linebacker. I won a state championship. I played Division I ball. I know a thing or two about winning. A winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know. 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Rock your home with new tops from Kansas City's best countertop fabricator, Rock Tops. They custom fabricate and install stone surfaces that will make you fall in love with your home. Making homes look incredible is Rock Tops' thing. Being nice just comes naturally. Rock Tops offers carry-out samples and virtual or in-home appointments. Call 913-782-0802 or go to rocktopskc.com. Mention 810 Rocks to receive 10% off right now.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
A genuinely emotional, touching moment completely undercut by the sloppy way we got there.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Good liner choice, Beards. There's a bit of a winding path to this one, but the starting point is essentially that former Mizzou quarterback Kelly Bryant signed with the Toronto Argonauts, and so Tucker D. Franklin, little Chiefs boy.
Have Shane Ray, by the way.
Shane Ray, and also Martavis Bryant, which I just learned because I was looking at the Toronto Argonauts page. But yeah, so they've got Kelly Bryant and Shane Ray, so Tucker's got a little Mizzou connection to the Argonauts, then they've tweeted him back, and now he's an Argonauts fan. What I just realized, though, is as I was sort of dealing with the thought of, we're not going to have new football until August. We're going to have just, game tape or whatever.
If only we had the XFL.
I was just thinking that I would absolutely obliterate some XFL football now. You know what? Last year I didn't need a palate cleanser, I need a palate cleanser this year.
Can I entice you with Division I AA? They're playing in the spring.
Oh, they are doing spring football this year.
Oh, now Trey Lance, North Dakota State.
I was going to say their quarterback was,
But to be fair, they keep sending guys to the NFL, so whoever the backup is, he might be really good.
I'm probably going to show my ignorance on something here, but is
Northern
there like
Iowa.
I was saying, what's the most local team that is D2 and interesting or good?
I couldn't, and so part of this, I couldn't tell you the exact number. I know North Dakota State recruits Kansas City hard, they have, and same with Northern Iowa. But it'd probably be Northern Iowa. That'd probably be your best.
I don't really want to root for Iowa.
They're good.
I don't really want to root for Iowa.
There's usually a lot of. You got Missouri State. You got the South Dakota State
nationally,
Jackrabbits.
Ooh, Jackrabbits, pretty good.
Good nickname. I watched them go to Lawrence and beat Kansas once. It was not fun.
I think
6-3. The first year after the Todd.
Oh my God!
It was the first year after Todd Reesing. And
they've lost to them a couple of times recently. Then,
I forget who was the starting quarterback in that game, but the backup was Jordan Webb, a freshman from the state of Missouri. He was supposed to be the next Todd Reesing. He was not.
Don't think he was. I guess
he was not. No.
All right, let me cook you up a little offensive line thing here. We're gonna have a full show tomorrow night as well, and we'll talk to Seth Keysor in a few minutes. We're going until 10 tonight. But one thing that I saw pop up, my point is we're gonna have plenty of time to dig into some of the nuts and bolts of the game and where the Chiefs go from here and everything. But one thing that I saw that I really did not care for as a hashtag take is that the Chiefs didn't invest enough in the offensive line. I saw even somebody said that Brett Veach didn't invest enough in the offensive line because Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz were here when he got here.
But Josh, did you see the Super Bowl?
First of all, the idea that you have to be the executive that adds a player for them to benefit your team is some of the most smooth-brained things I've seen around the Super Bowl this entire year. Go ahead, Beard.
They need to trade for the first overall pick and draft an offensive lineman.
Who are they trading for the first overall pick?
Travis Kelce.
Oh, okay. Honestly, I'm not sure that trade.
And Willie Gay.
Why?
Because offensive line.
So here's the thing.
If you're going to trade up to one, you draft a running back.
That's the other trade. That's Tyreek Hill. And Snead.
Yeah, no, you guys got it. The Chiefs would have been more effective running the ball against the Buccaneers if they just would have.
How many Super Bowls were won with 0 rushing yards?
If they would have just had a more highly valued running back. Maybe they should just give Clyde his. My voice is struggling. I don't know why. Maybe they should just give Clyde his huge second contract right now. I don't think that's legal, but maybe they should try to get around those rules just so he can
10
also.
years. $501 million.
I think Mahomes is actually 503. Do you want to yell 504 million?
504 million.
Okay.
And a half.
Why is the half?
You figure out where the half goes. I don't know.
I mean, in the contract. But here's something about the Chiefs' offensive line, which was dominator on Sunday, to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about two facets of this. One, the Chiefs lost Eric Fisher, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, Kelechi Osemele, Mitchell Schwartz, and Lucas Niang this year. That's 5 offensive linemen, 3 to season-ending injuries and 2 to opt-outs. Now, it's not all one-to-one because they lost LDT and then signed Osemele. So it's not all perfect there, but they certainly expected Lucas Niang when they drafted him, I'd have to imagine, and then he opted out, and LDT opts out. But the offensive line was not underinvested in that way. It just got absolutely torched by, again, 3 season-ending injuries and 2 opt-outs. I said this on Twitter just to be as clear as humanly possible.
I had to mute a guy.
This is not. I did too.
I bet it was honestly
probably
the same guy.
This is not an indictment on opting out any more than it's an indictment on
that's why you
getting
guys
hurt.
aren't responding to my tweets anymore.
But then think about, okay, well, so they got dominated there, but the guys behind them weren't good enough. How many starting caliber or starting capable offensive linemen is a team supposed to have?
23.
Because I can make a case that the Chiefs had 8 to 10 WHB.
That's not enough.
On their roster. Fisher, Schwartz, LDT, Osemele, Ryder, Wiley, Wisniewski, Rimmers, Allegretti, Niang, Kilgore is 11.
They should trade for Kittle. He can block.
You need 15 to 10.
You can't have all of those guys on the wrong end of that starting at the same time against a really good pass rush like happened in the Super Bowl.
Or 94 to 5.
You can't have Rimmers and Wiley on the ends and then have the guards have their worst games of the season all at once. No, for sure. But this team had offensive line depth that actually came to play. And the top of that depth just got, again, absolutely obliterated. Sometimes there are simple, unsatisfying explanations for things, and I think that's where we're at with the offensive line. We'll talk to Seth Keysor next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Check out the latest gear in the 810 fan shop at 810whb.com/shop. We have hoodies, long and short sleeve t-shirts, and much more. It's all just a click away. Go to 810whb.com/shop to see the whole selection. Check out the latest designs now available in all sizes, including onesies. That's right, 810whb.com/shop. The 810 fan shop has something for everyone, and we have new gear dropping all the time. Go to 810whb.com/shop.
Hey, listen up, guys. I don't know about you, but I know Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and if I want to have a great Valentine's Day, I got to make sure I take care of my wife. You know what I do? I get her beautiful flowers. Flowers from Pro Flowers. They're absolutely stunning. They're the highest quality flowers, freshest, smell wonderful, look even better. That's why I go to Pro Flowers. Go right now to proflowers.com. Use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O. You can save 20% on your next purchase. That's right. Save 20% on your next purchase from Pro Flowers. All you got to do is go to proflowers.com. Check out the huge selection of flowers. She's got a favorite color. She's got a favorite flower. You're going to find it at Pro Flowers. Make sure you use that promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, at proflowers.com to save the 20%. Listen, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and if you don't come home with a great gift, then you're going to be in trouble. Don't do that. Get the flowers at Pro Flowers. Clickety, click, click, click. It's that easy. proflowers.com. Use the promo code PETRO to save 20%.
Hey guys, looking for a new rewarding career? Check out the Operating Engineers Local 101 Apprentice Program. In addition to paid on-the-job training with union construction companies, you'll learn to operate all types of heavy equipment, including cranes, bulldozers, backhoes, graders, scrapers, trenchers, loaders, compactors, pavers, asphalt and concrete plants, drilling and boring machines, and other specialized construction machinery. You'll receive great benefits and a pension plan as well. Call today 816-640-2336. That's 816-640-2336.
Hey, it's Todd Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. They've done great work at my house. Inside, outside, it's always great. From the estimate to the prep work to the cleanup, worry-free all the way. Give them a call for a free estimate, 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA, or go to CertaPro.com for more information. Now is a great time to update your home. There's no reason to wait. Call 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com today to experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
Do you purchase products for the food service industry? Then get Regal. Healthcare, get Regal. Hospitality, get Regal. Go to getregal.com. Regal Distributing is a local Kansas City company in the food service and janitorial industry for over 60 years. Regal Distributing saves your business time and money by providing customers with the right product. The time is now to buy from a company that will service the heck out of you. Buy local, buy smart, and buy from a trusted company that has been helping their customers grow for decades. Visit GetRegal.com and get Regal today.
Playoff season is here, and you'll score big at Robert Brogdon Buick GMC. Save thousands below MSRP and get 0% for up to 72 months on most new Buick and GMCs. There's a huge selection, including the 2021 GMC Sierra. Plus, they have over 200 used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Rush to Kansas City's highest volume Buick GMC dealer on I-35 in Santa Fe and Olathe, or at robertbrogdon.com. On select models must qualify and finance through GMF for special financing. See dealer for details.
Do you want to increase your business sales in 30 days? We've developed a proven method to do just that. What if I told you that for less than $5 per day, you could increase your sales? You can with the help of KC Referral Network. KC Referral Network will promote and market your business on 4 of the most effective advertising platforms: radio, direct mail, digital marketing, and referral directory marketing. Get started today at saleskc.com. That's saleskc.com, and increase your business sales in 30 days. saleskc.com.
Number 1 all day, every day. Kansas City's hometown radio station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810. WHB, Kansas City.
Game against the Raptors for COVID-19 protocols. The Brooklyn Nets are now 0-3. They're a sub-500 team, 7-9 against teams with losing records. Tonight, they lost to the team with the worst record in the league, that being the Detroit Pistons, 122-111. Kyrie Irving did return, took 28 shots, and scored 27 points. Meantime, at the behest of owner Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks will no longer play the national anthem and haven't in any of their 13 home games this season. College basketball, good one on ESPN. 7th-ranked Texas Tech at home to number 14 West Virginia and trailing at the break 40-34. So we know Deshaun Watson wants to be traded. We know Matthew Stafford has Carson Wentz perhaps close to being dealt. What about Russell Wilson? The Seahawks quarterback telling the Dan Patrick Show he's frustrated with the amount of times he's been hit throughout his career and expressed his desire to be more involved in the team's personnel decisions. His comments, this Dan Orlovsky.
Listen, I love Russell Wilson. I think he's fantastic. But it's a slippery slope now because today he said he got hit too much. He's an offensive lineman. How would you take that? And then he's saying, we haven't been good enough. By the way, I want more roster input. I mean, as a general manager, I'd be sitting there going, wait, so you're telling me the offensive line's not good enough. I put the offensive line in place. Then you're telling me we're not good enough. And now you want some input into our roster decisions.
Yes, he does. Patrick Mahomes will have surgery this week.
Wednesday, the football conversation continues, looking back on the Super Bowl and ahead to who will win next year's. Tony Dungy's got all the answers. I'll be asking the questions. Don't miss it. Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
Now it's time for very serious football talk with the man who met his wife on a blind date, chaperoned by his parents.
They actually came along on the first date with us. That was No! I rode in the back seat. I was 22.
The man who needs to take a minute to remember the names of all of his children.
Do all of your kids have the same first letter?
No, actually. Let me think. Do any of them? Tucker, Mason, Cole, Isabel, and Lucas.
The man who can defend you in court, but will probably choose not to.
I'll cop to this on a public setting right now. I am an aggressive cuddler in a consensual sense.
Comma, officer.
Good grief, he's a pastor too? When does this guy sleep?
You will find Seth Keysor everywhere except for in his or your bed, because not only does he not sleep, he's also a faithful husband. So that's important.
It's Seth Keysor of The Athletic on Almost Entirely Sports.
It's a Tuesday, so we're talking to Seth Keysor of the Chief in the North newsletter, of The Athletic, on Twitter at RealMN Chiefs fan, of the Times Ours podcast. Seth, I thought we were going to have a relatively kind of bummerific conversation about the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl tonight, which felt like, was going to just be the absolute end of the world. And then we got horrible news earlier today that Therese Paylor, formerly of The Star, most recently of Yahoo, passed away this morning. It's awful. I mean, I don't know. And we talked about it some earlier, but I know you've had your share of Therese stories, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about it before we get into all of the so much relatively more meaningless things.
Right, yeah. It's always good to get the important stuff out of the way so then we can delve on the mundane. So, I mean, Therese and I knew each other only through coverage, but, like, I guess to backtrack, I've always thought you can tell a lot about, to backtrack before I even started, I've always felt like you can tell a lot about people with, like, how they act when they don't need to be kind.
Yeah.
Like, how people treat their waiters and their waitresses, or, like, underlings when there's not a lot of supervision, or, like, cashiers and stuff. So if I didn't join Twitter until like 2013 or 2014 or something like that, because I'm a dinosaur. And I was just blogging for SB Nation, had like almost no following whatsoever. And Therese, in the meantime, was, you know, the dude at the Star, and had been for a minute. And he reached out to me just to say, hey, I see that you're grinding the film, you know, keep it up. You're going to do, you know, just put in the work. And you're doing great. And I remember calling my wife, and, like, it was like the day Eric Berry followed me on Twitter. You know, it was just like, oh, my gosh, like, yo, Therese Taylor reached out to me. And she was just like, who? And, you know, it was, so then I explained to her, and she's like, oh, that's awesome. And that was the start of he and I communicating just occasionally. And, like, I never wanted to take up his time because, you know, he had better crap to do. And so it always felt like I would only reach out to him when I needed something. And you'd think, like, eventually, like, advice or whatever, and you'd think eventually he'd be like, you know, Seth, there's nothing in this for me. But because there was nothing I could provide. But it wasn't like that. Like, when, you know, I was trying to figure out what direction to go with the stuff I was writing about, he was willing to talk to me about it. When The Athletic offered me a job, and I wasn't sure even how to go about, like, doing professional sports stuff, I was just going back through my DMs, and he was just like, you know, he was just so encouraging. And he guessed it, actually. He guessed that The Athletic offered me a job. And he was just like, bleep, yeah, this is going to be awesome, and was, like, excited for me. And I was nervous, and I was, oh, well, what would you do? You know, how should I kind of start to try to whatever? And he was just like, man, just be you. You're going to crush it. Like, you've got this. You put in the work. Go get yours. And then he circled back to me without any prompting, just to check in to see how I was doing. Like, to ask me, hey, they treating you okay over there? You know, the culture good? Like, you're making sure they're taking care of you? And he never had to do any of those things because he was much more important than me. Like, he never had to do any of those things. When I covered my first game, we use the word covered pretty fast and loose. I felt kind of like an outsider. You know, it was kind of weird because I'd been doing the whole SB Nation thing long enough to where pretty much everyone in KC Media had interacted with me on Twitter, kind of knew who I was, but I was also, you know, the outsider. And honestly, I still feel that way sometimes. You know, I'm covering from a distance, and that just is what it is, you know? And so I don't remember what Nate had to go do for just a minute. And suddenly, like, I was afraid, like, I was going to be back in, you know, 8th grade. And everyone would have someone to talk to, and I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, which is stupid. You know, I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
I'm a grown-up. I'm a lawyer. What do I care? But, you know, it matters. Like, you're in a new environment, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to suck it up, whatever. And Therese was standing there in a circle with, like, some actual media people who are actually important, and breaks off a conversation to go, hey, Keysor, come here. And just had me stand next to him and just started chatting with me like it was a regular thing that I was there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a really stupid
No,
story
man.
to tell.
No. I didn't have anything to react with it to, because you talk about 8th grade and not having a table to sit at or whatever. I mean, like, that, the people that you remember, or in retrospect, the people that you either wanted to be or hope that you were or hope that you would be given the opportunity again now would be, well, I hope I'm the person that invites someone else to come stand in the circle and they very clearly are not standing in the circle, even though it doesn't, maybe it doesn't, add anything to my circle. Listen, I mean, I don't know if he or the other people there needed your input on something, or if he just wanted to have you, included.
They did not
in that group. I'm guessing I'm sure they were glad to have you, and also would have been fine if Therese didn't invite you in.
Right. They were
that's a good
neutral
story.
on it.
It's a good story.
And that was like who he was anytime I interacted with him, and like he was busy and he just crushed it, and he like in every situation I ever saw him in or interacted with him in, he was always like the alpha. Yeah. He was like, well, what does Therese have to say? And when Therese started talking, everyone just shuts up and listens. And it would have been really easy for him to use that as a bully pulpit, especially like in a smaller market like KC, where there's not, as many people, not as many fish swimming around. And the thing is, like, if you check Twitter, earlier today, my story's not unique.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not special. That's just how he was. And like, moments like that, and him, he was the first like legit media person to say to me, I think you have a future in this. Like, I think you could, I think you could do this. And a lot of good things have come to me through this job. And, I probably would have, hopefully I would have grinded it out and done what it took regardless. But it means a lot. Like you said, when you got like that person like that you maybe hope you could do what they do, but don't really think you could, to have them say, no, man, you could do this. That means a lot. Yeah. And he didn't just do that for me. He did that. I don't know a person who came up in Kansas City sports media that doesn't have some Therese story of him being there when he didn't have to.
Yep.
And dude was just a giant. And so, yeah, 2021 is tough, but I think I'll see that dude again. And he left a huge imprint. Like, for the imprint that people see, to use a very overused and ridiculous cliche, like the sports coverage stuff that he did, which was awesome. I mean, he did so much for Chiefs coverage,
as good
for
as
Yahoo.
Anybody, and no one in sports media is offended by that. Not a one.
Right. Therese was the standard. Like, when people would always say to me when they compliment me, Seth, besides Therese, you're the GOAT.
Yeah.
And I never got offended by that.
It's a huge compliment, man. You end up in the same sentence.
Exactly. And, I mean, it just, for all that, because he accomplished a lot. Like, the way he was able to be an insider but still just love the game, which is not as easy as people think.
No.
Like, I have purposefully started to distance myself at times because I don't really want to know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because it makes it harder to love the game sometimes.
Yeah.
But he's still, I mean, that dude loved football like just no other. But for everything people saw, which, like you said, I mean, he was the best. And everyone saw that. But that really was, the iceberg over the top of the ocean. And he did so much more behind the scenes, helping people out and just being an encourager and being kind. And I think it's super important that people know that. I'm sure they all loved reading his stuff. And he was so awesome with that. But he, like, behind the scenes, I mean, there are a lot of people that have been really kind to me, but he was the first. Yeah. And I just genuinely don't know where all this crazy Chiefs covered stuff would have landed without, again, to go back to the 8th grade analogy, it's the senior quarterback. Say, hey, come sit at my table, and then looked at everyone else and said, you say a word, I'll kill you. I mean, he just like, he was just awesome. And so, yeah, that's, I never know how to dismount with sincere things. So it's just like, end scene.
Yeah. And now we talk about the Chiefs' offensive line, I guess. I don't know. I think that's well said. My instinct is to say all the things that I've already said and will continue to say for a while. And there was, I don't think I mentioned this on the air, so I'll say it now because I at the very least imagine this person's not currently watching or listening to the show, so I can use them to give us a joke. On Thursday, I guess it would have Friday. It was Friday night. We opened the show talking about the whole Britt Reed accident and the little girl who was injured in it. And I talked about it for a while and then kind of spun off into a sort of side, kind of adjacent but slightly off to the side story. And it was 35 minutes. I remember that because I looked at the clock. It was 35 minutes, and I talked for most of it, and Rudy and Beards had things to add, and then at one point, then we took a break, and then I looked over at our stream of comments that we get from our Twitch and our YouTube and our Facebook streams where people can leave their comments, and somebody said around the 30-minute mark, "Now you're rambling."
And now you're rambling.
And I don't even think the person's name showed up because we have an issue with getting Facebook names to show up in the way that I can see our comments. But I have thought about that every day, and I will probably think about that person for the rest of my life because it just doesn't matter, Seth. You can nail the dismount. You can say things beautifully. You can be clunky but genuine. It simply doesn't matter what you think your virtuous attempt has been. Some jackass on Facebook is going to tell you that you're rambling because you haven't been able to fully rein in a topic like that one. So the point there is you're not going to make that dude happy. You're not going to make everybody happy, but I think that's well said.
I like that. That is a good discount. Can I just state for the record that there are about 3 stories about Terez that I really wish I could tell, but I can't because the things that he would say, it was just like, holy crap, man. Just such an alpha dog, man. Yeah. Dude was just awesome. So I appreciate that, though. You're right. I thought you were telling that story to be like, Seth, I'm telling you all this to let you know now you're rambling.
No. It's that I think that I would like to believe that most people would have a stroke of humanity in moments like that one, and most do. Especially I find most people that listen to this show regularly do, but the sort of random Facebook browser that stumbles onto the live stream at the beginning of the show that begins with an absolute tragedy at the front end, they would like for you to move on and start talking about the Super Bowl. So
if they insist, anything I can do to make them happy.
That's really what it is. Yeah, anyway, that we can take the incredibly awkward segue. I'll mention this again also. This might not even be an exhaustive list, but at least Sam Mellinger and Vahe Gregorian have both written really excellent things. They were teammates in the truest sense with Terez, and if you would like to read less rambly and even more sort of direct to life stories, eulogies, I guess, in some ways, but in a really bright and well written way. Go read what Sam and Vahe wrote. They've been excellent the last week. They've had some really said some things very well in ways that very few people and generally others have. So you can go check that out. To just stick my foot in the ground and try to pivot 90 degrees for a little bit.
Here, I'll help you out. If you were a Chief in the Super Bowl right now, you'd fall. There, how's that?
That's true.
I'll be the one to just.
I mean, it just wouldn't feel right if it wasn't incredibly awkward. But this is also our first show that we've had since the Super Bowl. We did a Times Ours with you and myself and Nate Taylor, and people want to hear an hour of our thoughts on all of those things. I got to be honest, I tweeted this out this morning. I was pretty proud of how that show ended up going, I think. Because I think we did a pretty good job also considering the fact that it came on, I think, a collective 9 hours of sleep for all 3 of us combined, if I had to guess. But one thing that you mentioned to me earlier is that you've gotten like tweets and DMs from people essentially just asking this question that I'll let you answer here, which is what happened?
The shortest answer, to quote Thanos out of context,
Yeah.
everything happened. Basically everything that could go wrong for the Chiefs, with one exception that we'll circle back to, did go wrong. So, I mean, let's start with like the things that maybe made fans the most angry in the moment. The officiating for the second 2 touchdown drives for the Buccaneers, right? Not like 90% of their yards were penalties. Those, it was atrocious. You had Keenan Allen, who does not like the Chiefs, by the way. Like, he talks a lot when the Chiefs play, basically tweeting out like, what is happening right now? Like, players, like, AFC rivals were tweeting like, what is going on here? And look, that's not what swung the game. In some ways, I'm glad it was such a blowout, because imagine if they'd lost by a touchdown. Like, that would haunt me.
Yes, it would be haunting. I'm right now on one of my TVs. There's a picture of Tom Brady holding the Lombardi. It would get even worse. Yes.
I've deliberately avoided. I'm working on the post Super Bowl mailbag right now. I just remember last year just devouring the mic'd up segments, the NFL film thing. I'm guessing I won't watch one of them. I mean, I probably will eventually.
Can I suggest one that'll make you feel like okay in a weird way?
Is it the receivers' reaction to Patrick Mahomes?
Yes, that one.
I did see that on Twitter, and they were all of us. Like,
Yes.
hey, Godwin, take a 1-year deal in KC, huh? Just come play with that dude. Because they were sitting there. If you wonder about Mahomes' play, and we'll get to that, just look at the awe in these professional athletes who play with Tom Brady, by the way, who were just like, how do you do that? Like, it was freakish. So that was one thing that went wrong. There was a stretch of god-awful officiating that in a real way cost the Chiefs some points. Not the game, but some points.
Yep.
Sure. Then you had some god-awful stupid penalties that were penalties. McCole Hardman lined up offsides. He did. They had the stop. They had it. Chris Jones on a second down that would have turned into a 3rd and 7. Now, he got goaded into it, but you always get caught retaliating.
Yep.
And he retaliated and got a 15-yard penalty. Matthew picked up a 15-yard penalty, jawing at Brady, which I get players jaw at one another, but, I mean, come on. Like, it was just, there were some foolish penalties that they did commit. So that's 2. Third, the game plan. Tyreek Hill talked afterwards. He said they prepared for a lot more man. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And with all the usual caveats that Andy Reid knows more about football than I could ever hope to.
Sure.
No. Sure. In 1,000 lifetimes.
Sure.
The route combinations that I saw were not designed to flood cover 2, right? They weren't designed to bust up, cover 4 where they're backpedaling. And there's a reason why, one of the few draws that they ran, like when they came out right in that first drive of the second half, they ran a quick draw to Clyde Edwards-Helaire and picked up 25 yards. And it was one of the first times ever that I was like, that was a good time to run the ball.
Yeah.
Like, to at least see.
Yeah.
The linebackers were backpedaling at the snap. They were playing a lot of cover 2 and cover 4. It was the time to run the ball. Now, it's tough when your offensive line's getting dominated. Make no mistake. And they were on run plays too. But some of those draws and traps and stuff, they should have, and when I say they should have run the ball more, as well as I do, I don't like them running the ball.
Yep.
But it's kind of like the Saints game where it was like, man, they got to run a little bit here because they were just teeing off on rushing the passer.
Yeah.
You didn't see any of that. Now, screens, those were a non-starter. They just weren't being run.
I don't think I've ever seen, I'm sorry to cut you off, I don't think I've ever seen an Andy Reid screen game just absolutely fail at boot. I mean, you just hit the power button and then it powered down again. They got blown up. The linebackers were beating the linemen to their spots. I've never seen that happen to them before.
They tried it twice, and they were like, nope, it's not going to work. They didn't go to Kelsey enough in the middle of the field early. The game plan just wasn't what I expected. The jet sweep actions weren't there. They when they tested the edges, they weren't getting chunk yardage like they were against like the Bills, but they were getting yards on some of those jet sweeps, and that's a way to slow down the edge rush, and they didn't do a lot of it. It was a mystifying game plan. So that's another thing. So you got the officiating. You got bad, dumb penalties on their own part. The game plan was kind of mystifying. They fell behind early, which allowed Tampa Bay to play a lot of run the ball, play action, which you and I have talked about this, like, that can work if the other team's winning and their defense is playing awesome. Now suddenly the options open up. And they were taking advantage of the Chiefs' blitz-happy approach that everyone knew was coming by calling a lot of quick hitters to those open areas. They were calling a lot of they did some tendency breakers on some of their runs, and they were targeting the middle of the field, the shallow middle of the field, and the very, not quite the edges, but where you've got Ben Neiman, Dan Sorensen. They were specifically going away from Tyrann Mathieu and going to the weaker parts of the defense. It was a great game plan. So the Chiefs' game plan was not good. The Buccaneers' game plan was awesome on both sides of the ball. So we cover that too. In addition to that, the Chiefs receivers, and we're working our way to more and more things.
Yeah.
Chiefs receivers, they two hit them in the face.
Yep.
2 touchdowns. And one of those, the game was probably already over, right? They were down by a lot with the way that game was going. They're not coming back and win that. But, one of them, that was a chance for them to go up 10-zip.
Yep.
That's a huge opportunity for Kansas City.
How different is I'm not saying even the result is different. How different is the vibe of this entire game if Tyreek Hill catches that one off his face mask and then that holding call on Charvarius Ward doesn't get called?
Wildly different.
And those things were separated by inches. Inches.
Absolutely. They were separated very closely in time. And then Travis Kelce had a huge third down drop.
Yes.
When Mahomes made a miracle throw there too. And that was a huge play. The Chiefs stopped the Patriots every time. The Buccaneers, the Chiefs stopped them 3 of their first 4 drives. And they only gave up one because it was god-awful field position. Townsend had a really tough game.
Yeah.
Early especially, when it mattered, right?
Yeah.
The only touchdown they gave up, they were in a god-awful position. And so the Chiefs had the opportunity to go up, 17-7, 21-7, 13-7 even. They had opportunities. So the game flowed into them. But the receivers lost at the catch point multiple times. Yep. Multiple times you saw Buccaneers players come in, swat the ball away, or swat at the arms, and people, they arrived too early. You got to box them out. Move up another yard, get that ball. That was probably on 5 or 6 plays that they allowed that to happen, and that's not including the hit in the face mask. The receivers played a very poor game overall in terms of contested catches.
I'm going to slice one more time. Follow up on that real quick. Was anybody? I haven't rewatched it yet, and I probably should have by now, but it just hasn't seemed like a lot of fun. If I'm being totally honest,
It's the worst.
The AFC Championship game, and in fact, I'm going to get to the stat here. I'm going to get to the stat again. I did the math. In the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl combined, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce combined to catch, I believe the number was 83% of the passing yards that Patrick Mahomes threw. 83% went to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and nobody else had anything else to say about it. And also, there were at least a couple of those times where Mahomes was scrambling, and it seems like usually even those deep drops, drifting back, all that garbage that we talk about, back whenever they were still winning those games, it felt like that offense still ended in, all right, there's DeMarcus Robinson, boom. And that just never happened on Sunday.
Right. You saw them, Pringle had one knocked away from him. Robinson and Hardman had their opportunities, and they just couldn't take advantage of it. Watkins, I don't think, was fully healthy. And the way they utilized him would underscore that to me. Like, he wasn't running a ton of routes.
Yeah.
And so the receivers played a poor game. The offensive line, I think people who listen to the show have heard enough on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. They were playing without 4 starters, essentially, because playing one starter completely out of position, and Andrew Wiley, honestly, if LDT and Osamele were there, he wouldn't be a starter.
Yep.
That's less than ideal. And you can get away with that. I had a lot of people ask me, well, why was it such a huge deal with Fisher down? Well, with offensive line, it basically becomes a matter of you can only plug so many leaks.
I was going to use that exact. I was just going to say it's like they ran out of fingers. Like they're trying. The dam had 3 or 4, and they were stretched all over the place. And then you take Eric Fisher out, and bloosh.
Yep, and then the dam bursts. And you and I talked about this last week when I said maybe the line could be about equivalent because with average offensive linemen or even a little below average offensive linemen, there's a variance in how they play. And so if Wiley and Remmers have a good game, they've got a shot. Well, they didn't. Both of them had terrible games.
Yeah.
Wiley played a much worse game than he played against Cam Jordan.
Yep.
He just did.
Yep.
And the entire line was getting beat. I mean, they were giving up on stunts. Tampa Bay did have more movement up front than they did the first time they played. They just were getting killed. And, it's funny, I've seen people, some people post stats about, like, time to throw and how Mahomes made the job on them hard because, he didn't release for, like, 3.7 seconds on average where Brady had the ball out in, like, 2.4 something. The numbers are approximate here. Well, the thing is, Mahomes' average time to release got wildly skewed by plays where he had immediate pressure and somehow dragged the play out for 10 seconds.
Right.
I mean, it was a horrific performance. In the meantime, the way Tampa Bay called their plays, because they were winning by a comfortable margin, they didn't have to just have Tom Brady drop back into the pocket and protect like the way they did in the first game. And that's one of the reasons why it really, people talk about styles making fights. Game flow can change a lot of things. And the Buccaneers were winning early, and so they were comfortable going with a lot of running, a lot of play action, and not exposing Brady to multiple read plays where you had to sit and survey. And that's why you saw there was such a huge difference in the amount of pressure that was on him the first 3 drives and then after.
Yeah.
Because they were winning by a lot. And so all of those things went wrong. If you remove any couple of those things, so if you remove any one of those things, the Buccaneers still win, right?
Yes.
Even if the Chiefs receivers have a much better game at the catch point, the Buccaneers still win. Might be quite a bit tighter game because, butterfly effect, blah, blah, blah. Refereeing, still a much tighter game, but they still win. Offensive line, maybe you can make an argument, but, the Chiefs defense still had some struggles at times, blah, blah, blah. Basically, the only one thing that you could change is if you made the Chiefs offensive line have a good performance. Maybe then that changes everything. Other than that, it was all of it. And it just all came together, and there was nothing. For the first time that I've ever watched a game, there was nothing that Patrick Mahomes could do about it. We saw the limits of quarterback play because what we've always talked about, and because it's true, is a quarterback is pretty much everything. Yeah. You can overcome pretty much everything if you're a quarterback. But what we found out is if your receivers aren't catching and your line's not blocking, and both of those are happening simultaneously, it really doesn't matter what your quarterback does, even if he makes 2 or 3 of the most otherworldly throws that I've ever seen. And I mean that. I think Mahomes made 2 of the best throws of his entire – maybe 3 or 4, honestly, because that corner shot to Pringle where he spun around.
Yeah.
And threw it to the corner of the end zone as he was finishing spinning.
Yeah. What
Pringle,
was that? I had no expectation for that to land in play. It's just bonkers.
It was barely out of his reach. And then honestly, and this will sound like a complaint, but again, the Chiefs would have lost regardless. But Pringle got held as he tried to run to the corner of the end zone. One of the defenders stepped in his way and pushed him off. If he hadn't, I think Pringle's catches that. It would have been a hard catch.
Sure.
But he's in position to do it. And it goes down as maybe the greatest throw we've ever seen in the Super Bowl. He threw the ball horizontal, and people can say, that should have gotten picked. No, it shouldn't have, because he put so much speed on it, it got there a split second before the defender.
Hit him in the face mask.
Just hit him
in the face mask.
Before the defender.
What are you
It was unbelievable what he did, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And I think that is something the Chiefs can take into account. The thing is, you're not going to have many games. In fact, they've never had a game where all of that went wrong at once and stayed that way consistently. In every other game, they've had guys start to step up a little bit, or Reed has adjusted. They just didn't, from what I saw, and I'm sure they did, and I'm sure it'll come out as the weeks go along. None of the players were really talking about after the game, though. I did not see a lot of adjustments after halftime to what Tampa Bay was doing on defense.
Yeah.
And that's the main story. They didn't score a touchdown. The defense held its own for a while. And what you saw there is what happens when a defense plays all right initially, but they're asked to step up time after time after. It was kind of the bad games of the Alex Smith era all over again, right? Where eventually the defense gives way, and then it looks pretty bad because, they score 30. It's like, the defense sucked. It's like, they could have played better, but, man, they held out for a while.
Yeah.
And so I know that's, a long road to a short thought to answer just one question.
It's a long road to a long thought.
Happened.
It's a long road to a long thought, to be totally fair about it. Because that's the answer. Your answer to what went wrong in that game was 10 minutes, and that was the answer. It was an essay question, not really a multiple choice one. Due to the general constraints of time, I'll let that enormous answer be the thing that gets people pointed in the right direction. I know that you're going to be doing some looking back at this game in the Chief of the North newsletter coming up relatively soon. And I work on the mailbag right now. I'm sure you'll crack into it there. I got to say, I think in a lot of ways, and this is probably overreaction to a very small sample size, but in kind of a zoomed out way, I think this offseason is going to be more interesting than last offseason was because of the number of guys that are probably not back and the number of places offensively where you can ask real questions about, hey, do they really need to go get like a number 3 receiver you feel good about, or an offensive line that gets overhauled, and is the defense going to have to take a step back if they whatever. We could have talked for 30 minutes about just the pass rush. Like, I think there's a conversation to have in that. So anyway,
absolutely.
I mentioned all of that just because I imagine that we will not have any lack of topic for quite a while here. So as long as you'll keep coming on Tuesdays, we'll get back into it again next week. And I don't even know what we'll decide we talk about then, but it sounds like there's going to be plenty.
Yes, you're right. You know, last year they went into it with a run it back attitude. Let's keep things the same. And it worked all year.
Yep.
But now, you know, people say they got exposed. I mean, the odds of all those things going wrong again, I'd be curious what happened if they played the Buccaneers 2 weeks from now. And what the result would be. Because in week 12, that game wasn't nearly as close as the final score.
Right.
And so what would it look like? And so I hope they don't overreact, but they do have some questions that need to be answered, particularly in some of the supporting cast areas. And I think along the offensive line, and let's just get one thing out of the way, they had numerous injuries. That's a completely different game if you've got Eric Fisher, Kelechi Osemele, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, and Mitchell Schwartz out there. A completely different game. So we don't want to overreact. Oh, they didn't invest in line. They did. They just all got hurt.
Yep.
And so that happens sometimes in football, and it stinks. But no one has 9, hey, we got 4 backups. We'll be fine. Well, that's not how that works.
Right.
Especially against really good defensive lines. But that's going to be an interesting place to start because we don't know what the future holds for Schwartz or Fisher or LDT or Osemele. I mean, so they might have some serious questions to answer there. Plus, I think I've seen just enough games where Mahomes needs to perform miracles to say, man, I sure would love to watch him play games like what you see Aaron Rodgers getting to play almost every week, where he gets to just stand there.
Yeah.
Not that he needs to, because Rodgers is great. But, man, I was getting offensive line envy for a lot of the season watching them.
Yeah. I would love that. I mean, just imagining Mahomes behind, like, the Colts offensive line. I got to say, I wouldn't hate it. Listen,
absolutely.
Every once in a while, if they could just let, like a free rusher off the edge so Mahomes has to go try that horizontal pass again, I'd be fine with it. But, like, once a game and not, like, 97% of the time, which is an exaggeration, but only barely.
Absolutely. Hopefully they can find themselves a ring chaser.
Yes.
My problem is the one dude that I'd really want, I don't think he's in the mood for ring chasing because of everything he went through. But Trent Williams is a free agent.
I saw that, yeah.
And he's a dominant tackle. But, again, he kind of got hosed in Washington, so he's probably looking for more money than the Chiefs can throw. But I would be, if I were them, looking to see if they can find a dominant offensive lineman to plug in somewhere to at least start that to where, okay, let's try to get this moving towards a little something more. But we can talk about that in the future. Like you said, Lord knows, this is the real bummer is it still doesn't feel like the season has ended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's so weird. And now we don't get football again until August.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's -15 where I am right now, and August feels a long ways away.
Yeah, it really does. Seth, I'll tell you then, with that in mind, with the end of a season in mind, and with everything that we talked about at the top of the segment, I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you spend on this little rinky-dink radio show as often as you have for years now. I hope people will go check out Times Ours, and I tell you this the same way, and I'm going to keep telling you again now here, bit.ly/Seth Hates Money, because it's absolute robbery to get as good a content as you're going to get everywhere anywhere around Chiefs Kingdom, if you will. So thank you, Seth, for another year doing this. Let's kick off the next one next week.
That sounds good to me. Thanks for having me, man. Every part of this job is better when you're involved in it.
Aw, thanks, Seth. We'll talk to you next week.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees, all for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
This Valentine's, Hen House is your one-stop for everything roses. Get the freshest dozen rose bouquet that's available for that special person in your life. Several colors to choose from. If you have a special request, Hen House has trained floral designers that are eager to create that unique design just for you. Plus 2 very special Valentine's floral items at the hottest prices in town. Farm fresh orchids in a ceramic pot, just $35. And 1 dozen long stem tulips, just $15, available in assorted colors. It's all available now at your local Hen House.
You've heard Tom Shane on the radio, but have you actually visited Shane Company? If you're looking for a unique engagement ring that reflects your personal style, come see us. Not only do we have all the classics, but our in-house design team is constantly introducing beautiful new styles. For your centerstone, you'll find all the traditional diamond shapes, as well as the trending shapes like oval, cushion, and princess cut. Another way to make the ring uniquely yours is to choose a colorful natural center stone. We're known for our vivid rubies and sapphires. Our sapphires come in over a dozen colors, like peach, lavender, and ice blue. Visit our store or go online where you can create and virtually try on any ring. With the largest selection of ring settings and loose stones, unlimited combinations and looks, at Shane Company, you can get your ring your way. We'll protect it for life, for free, and keep it sparkling like the day you said yes.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Hey guys, Soren Petro here. Are you starting the new year right? Are you starting by prioritizing your health? It's what you should do, and I recommend going to the Low T Center. They can get everything started with an annual wellness exam where they do a comprehensive health assessment exclusively for men, making it quick and easy to take care of your health. They offer monitored, self-injected home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay. Just go to lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Sometimes you're in so much pain and you fought it for so long, you're exhausted and think, just make it stop. Hey, this is Stephen St. John. I want you to know that safe alternatives to pain management exist. I'm talking about the modern medicine and treatments at QC Kinetics. These are the next generation of breakthrough treatment options that provide long-lasting relief for chronic pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, and feet. QC Kinetics offers patients like you non-surgical, painless, and effective relief to stop your chronic pain once and for all. These regenerative therapies help repair damaged tissue caused by arthritis, old injuries, organ failure, neurologic, or other conditions. Regenerative procedures are the new standard in medicine for people like you and me, treatments that elite athletes have been using for years. Call now. QC Kinetics, right off 435 in State Line, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299.
Why would I sell the car of my dreams for a food truck that wasn't? Or rattle off condiment combinations in my sleep? Extra mayo, all the mustard, ketchup on the side. I mean, when did an app become my favorite tool? Nothing personal, Spatula. It's because I wanted to make the best burger ever. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
We talk about cocaine on this show a lot.
Almost entirely cocaine.
Oh, man, I wish.
With Joshua Brisco.
No, man, listen, you know how I know that I can't have a cocaine habit? I don't have cocaine money.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Beards, right after you said in our headphones in the studio here, like, hey, we're coming back, I immediately was thinking, like, all right, so are we going to talk about Therese some more or do serious Super Bowl stuff, or is there something funny? There's probably nothing funny. And then the liner is about how I can't do cocaine because I don't have cocaine money. Did your headphones just break?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Let's talk about that. Why did you break your headphones?
I didn't break them. I didn't do it.
Well, I mean, they broke somehow.
Did somebody else break them?
I don't know.
Somebody broke them.
Oh, no.
If you look on Facebook or on the video feed, though, you can see one of my headphones is being dumb.
Did it snap? Did you hear
The
a
plastic,
snap?
I don't know. I just noticed it coming back.
Yeah, that is the telltale sign of you've got a flappy ear right now.
Yeah, I need to order new ones.
We got ads for that.
You can try to. There might be a couple of like repair options, but I've in my.
Ooh, actually, I think there's some Gorilla Glue we've got somewhere. I'll just make sure not to put it on my hair.
You can also
In my
you can
beard.
also fix your beard forever if you want to use that. It's basically a pomade. Please beards, don't try to do it right now because you're gonna need to like clip it in place and stuff. Actually, good point.
Yeah.
Put
Do
the
it right
Facebook
now.
cameras on you and try to do that right now.
Let me go get tape.
The tape's not gonna fix it. Here's the thing, beards. Here's the thing. Listen to me. Listen.
need
Sit down.
Gorilla
Sit down,
Glue.
beards. Beards, sit down. Sit down.
We've got
Beards.
Gorilla Tape.
Sit down.
No,
Sit down.
beards
Sit down.
need
Sit down.
glue.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Listen to me. 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 I have broken many pairs of headphones in my day. I don't know why. I'm not reckless with them. I don't know. I got a big head and I've broken a lot of headphones. One of the reasons that I eventually finally bought these just like very traditional like radio headphones with a long stretchy cord is because there's like some metal pieces and they're relatively
what I've
sturdy
got.
and everything. What?
These are radio headphones.
The reason I bought these is what I'm saying. These are like
that,
especially
like,
sturdily built.
Those are like the standard.
No, you got good headphones.
Yeah.
I'm not listening.
Josh
Beards.
just
Don't get fragile about me insulting your headphones. I'm not
Josh
insulting
just
your
has
headphones.
the ones that I would say is most common throughout the radio industry.
The first ones of these were made 25 years
I just
ago.
don't like how those fit on my head.
That's fine. That's not the point.
Again, that's not the point.
I have hit a comma at that sentence, and you got defensive about your headphones. Your headphones are fine, Beards. Your headphones are fine. But the reason I finally bought these is because these are like we've got a couple pair of these headphones around the station that have clearly been here like since the station started. You know,
Maybe before.
maybe before.
Might have came with the building.
And so I got these because I've had many pairs of over the head headphones that have eventually just snapped at some point or another. Also, one of the advantages of the AirPods is that I can just leave one in. I'm not worried about the cord dangling and like snapping or whatever. This is me finally fixing something about myself, which is that I have destroyed headphones and earbuds, just wear and tear. I mean, just wearing them constantly. And so I think all of that to say this is like whenever you've got a former player or like a trainer on the sidelines that sees like a player go down, you're like, that's not good. That was non-contact. You just had a non-contact headphone injury where it's like, oh man, I've seen that 100 times. And then also the point being about repairing them, it's going to be an undertaking. You're going to have to get really lucky depending on where it broke. And you're probably going to have, at the very least, lopsided headphones. I've had one successful like headphone surgery, but it's pretty much just the one.
Well, I'm gonna go get tape, and then I'll put the camera on me, and we'll see how this goes.
I've been fortunate.
Why wouldn't you wait 10 minutes until the show's over to like really give yourself?
Because
you could, like,
I'm
get
making
some-
content for the show now, and I can't hear you because the mic's on in here, and because I don't have headphones because they're broken now.
Yeah,
I can't hear what you're saying.
So I've been very fortunate actually. Like the pair I have, I remember when I interned, I just needed a pair of headphones. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna buy this cheap pair off Amazon for $20.
Yep.
And they worked great. And they lasted for like 3.5 years before they broke. And so I bought a new pair for $20, and they still work. Like I've been like weirdly lucky that I've been on only 2 headphones. And the brand itself is a big name. I'm just forgetting the brand now. I buy like literally the cheapest model of said brand. I would say it is the second most common brand of headphone to the these are Sony, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So the Sony.
I have a pair of headphones that I bought on Amazon for like $15, maybe 6 years ago or something now. They're very old, like retro. They look kind of retro, but they're the real winner there is that the whole headband thing, which you can't see on Facebook because the camera is still on Rudy because Beards isn't here. The whole headband area is all metal, and the cups on the side just slide up or down them. I went and eventually bought new ear pads for them that are not quite as comfortable as the original ones. But I got replacement ear pads for them. The ear pads wore out before anything broke because they're like, they're a perfect metal thing. The issue is the cord wasn't very long, and then also that they're not incredibly comfortable to wear for like 8 hours or whatever, which occasionally happens around here. And I don't think they worked very well with the headphone jacks here, which is also a real problem. And also one of the reasons that I ended up with these headphones, because these actually work.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really like about
Rudy,
this brand is it works well with the headphones.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but Beards just made the hand motion of him snapping his headphones in half.
I don't
what is
know
that?
why you would do that.
What is that? What
so
does that
you
motion
did
mean?
break it.
Beards, why are you breaking your headphones?
He told us he didn't break
I
it.
didn't break
Clearly.
them.
What's that hand motion for? You want to break your headphones more?
No.
You want to break the
They're
other
already
one?
broken.
Break them evenly?
Yeah, if you break the other side, then it's basically fixed.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
I don't understand, Beards. What was the hand motion?
We need to go to break.
Your headphones more? I can do that. You want to bring them in here or want me to come in there? I'll throw them off the freaking balcony, man. I don't care.
I will push this button myself.
Break that too.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Do you have a financial advisor? Or maybe thinking of getting one? Make sure your advisor is a fiduciary. That's someone who's legally required to serve your best interests. Stockbrokers and mutual fund sales reps, they aren't fiduciaries. Luckily for you, all the financial planners at Edelman Financial Engines are fiduciaries. And you can get your own personal fiduciary financial advisor real easy by calling 888-PLAN-RIC. And if you call now, you'll get a free retirement review and a personal financial plan to help you reach your goals. An $800 value. And when you meet with us, we'll give you answers to the key questions you need to ask any financial advisor to help you properly evaluate them, like what are the total costs you'll pay, and what investment changes did they make due to COVID. So call us at 888-PLAN-RIC by 10 p.m. tonight. We'll make sure you're getting the right financial advisor. Call now, 888-PLAN-RIC by 10 p.m.
Hey guys,
tonight.
it's time to think about Valentine's Day. So give her a gift she will cherish forever and hand down to the next generation. Get her jewelry from Mazaris. Now is a great time to pop the question with a one-of-a-kind engagement ring. Or let them design the perfect ring for you. Whether a classic watch or designer necklace, it's at Mazaris Jewelry. Come in and experience superior customer service. Or shop online at MazarisJewelry.com. Mazaris Jewelry in Leawood, Kansas. In the business of forever.
Hey, Sorrent Petro here. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T or something else like sleep apnea or even low thyroid. Schedule a complete health assessment right now at Low T Center. They offer monitored, self-injected home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have been gaining weight, have a loss of muscle, don't wait. Go to the lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees, all for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
Now that football season is over, spring training is right around the corner. Even if it doesn't start on time, you have no excuse not to start your own spring training. You can get yourself back into game shape by spring, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, or they have a location close by the Lighton Tower right here in Overland Park. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
The Missouri Army National Guard can help you get the education you need to land the career you've always wanted. The Guard will pay up to 100% of your tuition for up to 39 credit hours per academic year at 90 colleges and tech schools across the state. You're eligible as soon as you enlist. Learn more about the many benefits that come with serving part-time in the Missouri Army National Guard. Visit NationalGuard.com today. Sponsored by the Missouri Army National Guard, aired by the Missouri Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I don't know if it's I don't know how you measure radio waves. I don't know if it's megahertz.
I think it's inches.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thanks for hanging out for another one of our clunky 3-hour trips through a whole bunch of different, difficult, weird stories and tough days. Thanks to Seth Keysor for joining us as well. You can always watch the show, watch Beards try to fix. You can keep. I love me being on camera as much as anybody, Beards. But if you want to go ahead and keep the video feed on you trying to tape your. What?
I don't think my headphones are salvageable.
Beards is trying to repair his headphones. If you want to watch that on our video feed, we'll see. Maybe tune in tomorrow night to see if Beards has borrowed some Hello Kitty headphones.
I've got some spare ones at home. I'll just use those.
Do they have cat ears on top?
No, they don't.
Might help our Twitch audience if you had those.
By the way, go to Dan Ravel's Twitter. It's getting wild.
Why? You gotta tell me quick.
It's the whole Kate Upton thing proposing. PFT's brought it up, and it's getting wild. They might box.
I went to Daryl Ravel's Twitter, which is a person.
Just the people, if you're listening.
Or it's actually maybe a parody
kill
account.
Some time. Go to Dan Ravel's Twitter account. You'll have fun.
I don't think that's a promise that you can honestly make.
He's the king of the nerds. Or the dorks, I mean. Not the nerds. He's not a nerd. He's a dork.
No, dork's not good. Nerd's good.
President of the Dork Club.
Weird show. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Bye, Mom.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
At Central Bank of the Midwest, we are focused on building strong communities across Kansas City. I'm Bill Ferguson, President and CEO. Our strong roots began more than 100 years ago in the heart of the Midwest.